My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system, which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Notice: intellectual property theft is particularly egregious and equally unlawful where the sole inventor and creator of the intellectual property is the targeted individual. Erica Lorraine Spencer, subject to the unconstitutional and inhumane government system of gang stalking, otherwise referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices, because of which the intellectual property created by the targeted individual, who is, in fact, Erica Lorraine Spencer, as the intellectual property also proves, serves to establish via evidence and expose the existence of criminal surveillance and thus an inherent threat posed by the U.S. government and the civilian population sharing engagement in the unlawful system. Such evidence, that includes all of the content created by Erica Lorraine Spencer, images, videos, audio, etc., belongs solely and entirely to Erica Lorraine Spencer only and is necessarily published online in order to protect her life, safety, and liberty as the targeted individual, who is also the intellectual property owner, no less protected from theft procured through targeting by a public entity. Theft of any intellectual property belonging to Erica Lorraine Spencer, which is necessarily committed while she, being both creator and inventor, remains oppressed by the public entity via criminal surveillance, is a criminal and inhumane means of infringement under all circumstances and not protected nor enforceable pursuant to any invalid or fraudulent acts of copyright, trademarks, patents, etc., including as it pertains to any ideas associated with or generated from the intellectual property or the intellectual property owner, Erica Lorraine Spencer, whether creative, business, or otherwise, nor does the intellectual property owner consent to any such means of infringement and theft. It is currently, by the way, 12:50 a.m. Walking up what is, and it's, by the way, June 4th, 2025. And the entity is keeping the fake sun over me in Los Angeles, California at Alvarado Gardens. And the entity is keeping the fake sun over Woodside Senior Apartments also at this time of year in 2025. In 2024, the entity was gang stalking in Ontario as I documented it. The LAPD engaging in what the Ontario Police Department is doing now at 12:50 in the morning. While I'm walking on Euclid Avenue and I'm at C Street, C as in Charlie, the Ontario Police are pacing. And this is pacing, not just driving down the street and making a U-turn in the opposite direction. They're pacing. They're demons that are engaging in pacing in helicopter, and they're demons that are pacing at 12 o'clock in the morning, stalking me as I'm walking on Euclid Avenue, following me as an entity. The people of the state are maintaining presence on the roads and the highways, crossing path. The people of the state are gang stalking with this group of sex offenders who are demons, the Ontario Police, who committed kidnapping on video and via podcast, as I documented the events immediately precipitating what is a kidnapping by this same entity that's at 12 o'clock in the morning stalking me. And the evidence of stalking is in that specific environment because traffic lights, headlights, light fixtures do not create what is understanding the specific environment. That is multiple shadows. And the entity is engaging what is maintenance of light activity as well. So the demon possessed are engaging in what is gang stalking by the pedestrians, gang stalking by bike riders, gang stalking by vehicles operated in traffic, and doing so with regard to also monitoring my devices as I'm documenting it. This is very demonic, and it's very sick that Mike Lorenz is stalking, that Mike Lorenz is stalking a woman, and that Mike Lorenz is stalking as a whole operation of the police department. And that is evident also while you're looking at the demons gang stalking in helicopter at what is Starbucks, like I documented on June 3rd, 2025. Not coincidentally, after being released from kidnapping, that I'm publishing on the podcast at that Starbucks. And I immediately go into video at the same time that it's published. The demons are engaging what are obsessively stalking me. Being surrounded right now by the entity on a bike. It's a white male in a black hoodie, and on the opposite side of the street, a demon that's crossing path by standing in the sidewalk, waiting for the lights to turn. This is called surveillance, maintaining presence around you. They're crossing the street using the traffic lights, which create light activity while they have multiple shadows. And this is the Ontario police that's gang stalking you. All right, it is currently, by the way, 12:53 a.m. I'm documenting this because the entity is maintaining surveillance by using police vehicles, by using aerial surveillance, is what the Ontario International Airport is sharing in as well. It's the city of Ontario. This is documenting Paul Leon's obsession with stalking me everywhere that I go, which is what I was exposing the city of Ontario engaging in while I'm remaining at the senior citizen complex, Woodside Senior Apartments, where the sun in Ontario remained over that one apartment building that I'm inside of. This is speaking to the demons that engage in what are stalking. They engage in rape together. They engage in murder together. They engage in what is criminal defamation together. They're engaging in stalking together. It is currently 12:53 a.m. The 8YET606 is stalking on behalf of the City of Ontario, the Ontario Police Department. That's vicarious state action. It's P.O.C. And it's 12:53 a.m. on June 4th, 2025. This is the same entity that was engaging in gang stalking inside of the hospital of what is Arrowhead Regional Medical Center, a state facilitating venue, engaging in state surveillance, engaging in psychological torture while in the position as a hospital, and practicing medicine while gang stalking, meaning every question that you're asking, oh, how are you feeling today, is nothing but audible activity by a psychopath that's gang stalking. All right, and that's why, again, Datla, amongst the others who I will be documenting by name, I will be including the licensure information regarding the medical professionals. I will be publishing it just like I have every other kidnapping, while exposing how criminal surveillance operates in the United States while I'm in California. It is currently 12:54 a.m. June 4th. The entity is stalking, and everything happening is pursuant and precipitating from that criminal conduct. It is currently, again, 12:54 a.m. This is P.O.C. G26599. This is the demon gang stalking at 1:03 a.m. using a white pickup truck with the trailer cut off, stopping at the corner of D Street and Euclid, where I'm seated, in order to engage in pacing. So that's driving up to the curb, reversing, and then driving forward. That's pacing and engineer light, going the back and forth conduct and engineer light. It's not a failure to drive. It's not an inability to stay between the lines. It's pacing. And the knowledge of that is where you have multiple shadows, where you have a fake sun, where you have impossible light activity. You're understanding the malice of the entity that is stalking somebody in that engineer light. That license plate is representing what is that third party operating that vehicle. In doing so, as I take a picture of that third party, the back of that truck, that's that license plate. It's on the front of the truck. That third party drives off. And that third party is aware of what it is that I'm stating. Not only is this evidence of stalking, which is you can witness it, you're aware of it, it's proven in the environment. These are demons, moreover. So these demons know exactly what it is that you're doing, even when you're not in their presence, when you're not near them, when the human being, the normal human person, cannot hear or know, the demon does. Okay, this is surveillance, and this is amongst the demon possessed. It's currently 1:05 a.m. P.O.C. Plane activity immediately starts the moment I start recording right now. The amplified train activity, which is equally demonic. All right, I'm standing at what is the Palm Court Apartments. I'm gonna get this address right here. In between believe this is F Street and G Street, where you cannot hear the Union Pacific Railroad. That's over by the museum. There's the train track over there. You cannot hear the train. You can't hear it inside of Tracy Banks' apartment either. You can't hear it at the in the parking lot, like I've been documenting. Again, in the specific environment, I remain in the specific environment. I've got two shadows that I'm looking at. This is impossible light activity with the amplified plane activity occurring with simultaneous, the same exact P.O.C. of stalking with activity, and stalking which is maintained as I'm moving about, walking around outside. This is surveillance, and it's entirely demonic, and it's also letting you know that the people of the state are not sleeping. The people of the state are demons that are engaging in obsessive monitoring as well. So the entity knows that I'm walking on the sidewalk out here where I'm being surrounded with audible activity that is impossible to naturally occur. And it's also occurring, the plane activity, which is amplified with simultaneity to my beginning to document it at 1:19 a.m. The use of the railroad tracks is relevant to prosecuting the City of Ontario for gang stalking. And the City of Ontario is indeed engaging in that. While demons of the Ontario Police hide behind buildings, they hide in alleys, they hide in dark parking lots, they hide in parking garages, they hide in dead ends, which I've documented them doing in I've documented all the above, especially the Ontario Police Department. And that's exactly what they're doing while those demons are in Ontario Police vehicles, speaking to the demon possession of Mike LORENZ and his obsession with stalking me and using a whole police department to do so, and doing so at what is 1:20 a.m., where the Ontario Police are engaging criminal surveillance, and these are demons that are surrounding with a demonic environment while they're hiding behind buildings in relevant position, stalking in the path, creeping in the path all around. This is what they're doing when I'm inside of an apartment building. A fake sun remains over it all day long, and the Ontario Police, the gang stalkers, are just swirling around the apartment complex. It's ongoing CEASELESS surveillance. So I'm walking around outside, and this is what the entity is doing while I'm walking around at 1 o'clock in the morning, and a police department is stalking me. These are the demon possessed that need to be removed from the positions. They need to be diagnosed with regard to the public safety concern inherent to demons who are in law enforcement, criminal surveillance, which is satanic, psychological torture, which is built into the pattern of conduct, and public corruption, where it's underway with the people of the state. It's 1:20 a.m., and this is the entity that engaged in kidnapping and engages in what is the very it's effective with regard to the ordinary target individual, but when you get to it, when you do it against someone that is fully capable of exposing it and resisting it, it's actually very hollow, vacuous labels that the entity tries to attach to your name, such as, oh, she has medication. No, I don't actually, but you're never getting to the fact of the matter when you are inundated with libelous and malicious assertions about you, about conduct that you never committed, and then claiming that you need this is how the entity is criminally defaming. These demons engage in what is nothing other than name calling through this gang stalking entity, and doing so because of the fact that I'm exposing it. That's also why you are necessarily subject to federal prison. Necessarily. And this is what the U.S. government is engaging in. I want to be clear. The demon possessed are obsessively monitoring, and this is demonic activity that the Ontario Police Department, when I'm speaking to the demon possessed monitoring me in the spirit, the Ontario Police Department are a bunch of demons who are monitoring me in the spirit as well. They practice witchcraft. They pray to Satan. They engage in demonic activity. They summon demonic spirits, and they are spiritually monitoring me as well while they are gang stalking me in relevant positions. So you need to know that about Mike LORENZ. You need to know that about the demons of the Ontario Police who are being exposed for the criminal system that they're engaging in with the people of the state. All right. They are doing so, and that is speaking to mental illness on their part, and it's also speaking to criminal conduct. What I'm proving that the Ontario Police is doing in relevant position is your proof of knowing what they're doing in the spiritual realm, which these are the demon possessed who are monitoring. It is 1:22 a.m. and Ontario Police is gang stalking by creeping in the background. They're at what would be Laurel crossing path, driving in what would be the direction east. As I was documenting amplified train, so a demon in an Ontario Police Department is crossing path, driving in slow motion. I'm standing at in between F Street and G Street, and Ontario Police is about 2 blocks in front of me, and by in front of me, I am facing the direction south. So they're 2 blocks south of where I'm at, crossing path, knowing every word that I'm stating, stalking me specifically, because of the specific environment is how you know that it's very specific with regard to who's being targeted. And also, the Ontario Police has provided such a wealth of evidence about their harassing and targeting me in particular. That's also corroborating evidence, but the P.O.C. itself is establishing stalking by a police department. All right, so I'm going to get the license plate. The people of the state license 1 SCULLY. That's a third party gang stalking 7GZB580. While the entity is stalking with amplified audible activity, all the people of the state are monitoring. While I have double shadows, perpendicular, triple shadows now, the people of the state are engaged in criminal monitoring. 9NBN356. While the Ontario police engage in terrorism, domestic terrorism, stalking from corner to corner while you're walking around, while you're being gang stalked by the police, the people of the state are gang stalking. And so this is where I'm at, and I'm documenting the people of the state. It is license 6NID641, and I am located at Laurelwood Apartments. That's where the entity is surrounding with the sound of the train, which is impossible to hear. So what I stated is this: living in an apartment building at Laurelwood Apartments at the intersection of Laurel Avenue and F as in Frank Street. You cannot hear the City of Ontario, the train, the Union Pacific train. When Metrolink is on that railroad track, you cannot hear the Metrolink train. Being in this apartment, being at this apartment complex, you are not going to hear the train at any volume level whatsoever. The entity does the same thing with the lack of logic with regard to the Ontario International Airport, or in an airport in the city. Because you have an airport in the city, the entity is engaging in gang stalking with commercial planes all over the city. The entity had commercial airline planes hovering over the Arrowhead Regional Medical Center bus stop while I was sitting there, and the Colton Police Department were gang stalking, hovering over the bus stop at the Arrowhead Regional Medical Center in Colton, California. This is the pattern of conduct, and you're understanding the methods of surveillance, and which is speaking to obsessive presence. And that obsessive presence is not normal presence. It's obsessive presence because the specific environment is providing context when you're recognizing stalking. It is obsessive presence in that, identified in that environment, which is supernatural, meaning you can't make up the fact that you're being gang stalked. You can't make up the fact that people are obsessed with you. You can't make up the fact that strangers are indeed following you, because you don't control that specific environment that remains around you. And that is evident through the fake sun documentation. The entity is also then engaging in a behavioral pattern in that supernatural environment, such as police departments engaging in what is a documented pattern of harassment and domestic terrorism and psychological torture by pursuing, following, harassing with helicopter activity. It is currently 1:25 a.m. Laurelwood Apartments is where the entity is gang stalking and engaging in psychological torture with the people of the state. This is P.O.C. All right, well, you will see impossible light activity as I am in use of my communication device, and the Ontario police that are following me around, sounding just like they did at the parking garage. The moment that I the moment that I documented turning on my phone, not turning on my phone, but opening up my phone, unlocking it, and taking a picture of the vehicle that's in the parking garage, which is the method of light activity, while the third party that's in the parking garage is in operation of a communication device and engineer light, walking toward the monitoring. In other words, engaging the elements. The moment that I start recording that, the Ontario police who are following me around from place to place, just like I documented in a helicopter, that's what they're doing at 1:33 a.m. You will see impossible light activity, which is also your evidence speaking to what I'm documenting about the Ontario police, that impossible light activity is there because the police are gang stalking. And pursuant to that pattern of conduct regarding impossible light activity that does not produce from artificial lights or light fixtures on the exterior of buildings, where you will see my upright shadow on the wall in front of me, as tall as me, magnified in size, and I have one hand up in the air and two shadows upright on the wall. You will also see two shadows on the ground beside me. That's four shadows that are perpendicular to each other. This is the same light activity that was inside of Arrowhead Regional Medical Center, by the way, while they were wearing uniforms, while they were carrying clipboards, while they are bearing acronyms, and next to their names where they are representing the San Bernardino County Arrowhead Regional Medical Center that was engaged in what is criminal monitoring. And the Ontario police are stalking, which is evident through not only the light activity in and of itself, because, and you're analyzing what I'm showing you the P.O.C. is regarding, is that when you see that engineer light, it lets you know that the government is monitoring. And also, the Ontario police is so, Mike Lorenz, Derek Williams are so heavily exposed. That's also relevant knowledge, paying attention to the evidence that's already published. But the Ontario Police Department and any police department in any city is engaging in surveillance when you're looking at that specific environment. And as I take pictures of impossible light activity, where you will see that at 1:31, 1:32 a.m., as I capture it, the demons of the Ontario police, with the intent to communicate a threat, with the intent to let me know, hey, I'm stalking you, use the blurb with their vehicle while they're stalking in the path. All right, those are demons that are hostile while I'm capturing impossible light activity. Stalking with the Ontario Police Department. License 9NMW329. P.O.C. and also AGSPTR 53993A4 7MSL276 7PAF963 5UCW330. My shadow is at a distance way in front of me, moving across the backside of that vehicle as I'm walking on the sidewalk. 9MVY052 6JPT993. That's indicating ongoing surveillance, criminal monitoring, gang stalking by the police that are in relevant position, sounding what is the vehicle with regard to blurping as I'm documenting. That's audible activity. And it's also a recognition when you're analyzing the stalker as well, the stalker's tactics, communicating a threat while gang stalking through the police, who also are aware of the fact that they're being documented as gang stalkers, who just repeatedly engaged in another kidnapping that Jason Isaac Fields, Tracy Banks, the U.S. government is engaging in while I'm exposing the criminal P.O.C. in California. 9NJB782. 8SPL710. It is currently 1:36 a.m. You will see those images uploaded to the Google Drive. Where I'm standing at, what is the 320 G Street, and this is the TABOR Professional Building at 320 G Street. I've documented the fake sunrise through the window of Tracy Banks' vehicle on this same street in the morning. And I want to be clear, where I'm documenting that is not the same position as being over even Woodside Senior Apartments apartment building proper between units 33 through 64. It is identifying the specific environment. None of it is sharing presence in the environment where the entity is stalking with amplified plane right now. In that impossible light where I have four shadows, and the Ontario International Airport is stalking from place to place in Ontario. The entity is doing so in Los Angeles at Alvarado Gardens, where the fake sun is rising, and I'm documenting it. And I'm also reminding you about what I documented before 2024 in Los Angeles, such as what's documented regarding the fake sunrises, like I'm referring to at the TABOR Professional Building, where the fake sun is in perfect alignment with me while I'm inside of Tracy Banks' vehicle at sunrise, and that vehicle is where that fake sun remains in alignment to me while I'm in her vehicle, and she is gang stalking. This is the same psychopath that's engaging in having sex with former peers of mine, like Jason Isaac Fields, who is a gang stalking state actor, who is a psychopath, who was threatening while I am documenting and publishing the P.O.C., engaging in what is a criminal act of kidnapping in order to accomplish what is an unlawful eviction. In other words, this is a way that the entity is seeking to threaten me, seeking to obstruct justice by stopping, slowing down, disincentivizing my documentation. And it's a threat by the entity that's engaging in voyeurism, engaging in that act, sitting back, still gang stalking you, and seeing what you do about it. Those are the psychopaths that are, again, Jason Isaac Fields. Of course, he's no friend of mine. Having anal sex with my mom, you're out. Yeah, you're out. And not only that, this is a psychopath that's gang stalking, spiritually attacking, just like the Ontario Police Department. Not different, not distinct whatsoever. Doing so in the engineered light is, again, Alan D. WAPNER, the evidence of a gang stalking airport, the evidence of a gang stalking police department, Mike LORENZ, the evidence of mental illness as the demon-possessed are being exposed for criminal surveillance. And the entity is not only exposed, but engaging in what are things like I've documented, and it's directly relevant to understanding criminal surveillance in the United States, criminal defamation. It is 1:39 a.m. where amplified audible activity under the guise of what is a hovering plane that's not taking off from the Ontario International Airport at that elevation or at that volume level. It is an obvious and very highly unintelligent method of stalking with commercial planes, because that specific environment is proving stalking, but also Terminal 2 and Terminal 4 are at no position where the planes are even going to be over this intersection, over this stretch of land, certainly not at that elevation, and it's not going to be perceptible either audibly. the entity is stalking. So my impossible light activity that I'm surrounded by is also how you know that directly. So the specific environment is what is always informing stalking by the state. Where you're looking at that impossible light activity, you already know that the police are engaged in criminal surveillance. That's exactly what that directed light, that fake sun documentation is exposing about the government. And the government is also doing so with the people of the state. It's exposing public corruption, criminal surveillance, and it is demonic as well. That's a demon in an Ontario police vehicle that is blurping a siren as I'm capturing 4 shadows, 2 on the ground and 2 on the wall upright. And aware of what it is that I'm documenting, that's relevant to the time that vehicle is a method of audible activity, because the demons are not only stalking me, they're monitoring my documentation. Okay. And these are the demons that, again, remember, engaged in kidnapping because they know exactly who I am and they know exactly what it is that I'm exposing. And what I'm exposing is egregious level of sexual violence, criminal conduct, public corruption. And that, by the way, is speaking to the absence of any mental illness whatsoever. It's speaking to an apt ability to pay attention to very fine details that the average person is missing and help you put those dots together for yourself to understand what we are all subject to. And the entity seeks to target American citizens that are capable of such things. It's speaking to the demons also who know exactly who you are. This is spiritual. It's demonic activity, and the demon possessed are targeting based on knowledge of what is the spiritual realm they're spiritually attacking. This is witchcraft as well. This is demon possession. All right. It's currently 1:41 a.m. That's relevant to what the Ontario Police Department are engaging in. And engaging in kidnapping is the evidence which is supporting disbanding. And the Ontario Police and Tracy Banks, the people of the state, Woodside Senior Apartments, acting with impunity and doing so, fully aware of every kidnapping that's published on my website at thisisthepoc.wordpress.com. That goes with the federal government as well. Jason Isaac Field's aware of every documented kidnapping that he is a part of, that he is engaged in, and he is engaged in the kidnapping that just occurred on May 29, 2025, while the entity sought to kidnap me via asserting mental illness that the entity knows, in fact, does not exist. The entity is targeting, and the entity seeks to criminally defame in order to silence you from, and in other words, so that nobody will believe you. Oh, that person is mentally ill. Look, they have this on their record. That's a part of concealing criminal surveillance. It's the pattern of conduct. And not only that, the entity is engaging in what is demonstrating severe mental illness while they're gang stalking American citizens. That's another reason why the entity, the demons, seek to project mental illness on the targeted individual. It is literally the work of Satan. And it's also, none of this is relevant to, none of this is speaking to what is just unsupported commentary that I'm giving. Everything that I am stating about connecting the dots, about what you know about the police, what you know about the Ontario International Airport, is evidence that's supported with objective facts that you can witness with your own eyes and listen with your own ears. And these are also things that are capable of being submitted in court. Maintaining what is present at the same apartment complex, having the train engage in the same conduct where the government is testing, and it is the entities engaging what is surrounding me with the demonic environment right now, but being on the train, number one, and then also being at the location where I'm documenting it and seeing how it is impossible to hear it. That's perfectly capable of being replicated for purposes of understanding amplification, which is supernatural. It's getting to the malice of the stalker, that is the entity. It's the same thing with regard to testing the fake sun documentation, with regard to who is being targeted. When I'm showing you evidence, remember that's while it's remaining over me, and you have what is driving away from the placement of the fake sun and the shared experience by everyone else that would be keeping the fake sun over them no matter what direction, mutually simultaneously engaging in such ways. This is perfectly capable of being replicated in order to be submitted in court, and understanding the supernatural character of the specific environment outside of what it is that I have single-handedly documented and published for the world to apply, because what I'm showing you in the specific environment applies to all of us. That which is exclusive, the sun remaining over me all day long, necessarily means that the sun is not over you in another state. It's not even over anyone else in Northern California. It's not over anyone else on Omnitrans on Route 61 in Fontana, California, while it's remaining over Woodside Senior Apartments. It's literally that exclusive, because that's how asinine and that's how obvious the criminal pattern of conduct is, where the demons are stalking in that specific environment. And those demons include the Ontario Police Department. All right. And everything that comes out of the mouth of psychopaths who are irate and triggered because of her disgusting sexual activity. And it's not just her. Jason Isaac Fields is a whore as well. Jason Isaac Fields is a demon as well. Jason Isaac Fields is a pervert as well. He's a gang stalker as well. He's corrupt as well. He's demonic as well. But this is somebody that's a blood relative and somebody that just engaged in what is kidnapping as an entity. This is what the government used to engage in criminal summoning. And so I'm returning and getting my property, which is what you heard on the podcast. And you heard an unadulterated exchange on that was June 3rd, 2025, where I am at her venue. She knows that she's being documented, and it's not because she sees my phone, it's because she's a demon. But also she does see my phone, and so she has objective evidence of it. This is a demon that knows what you're doing, by the way, when you're not. This is what the demon possessed do. So she has both knowledge because she's a demon. She also has objective evidence because I am clearly in operation of my phone, and as I put it down and I document the absence of any scarring, punching, scratching, nothing on her face, which was the case when the entity engaged in what is making up information while they're gang stalking, trying to accomplish something to support arresting, which is a kidnapping by the stalkers. Okay, that's how the entity engages in that. The entity is that is Tracy Banks is engaging in what is reacting, being triggered because I am very much engaged in being very vivid with regard to how disgusting she is as a creature, having sex with people my age, her children's age, because that's how much of an obsessed demon she is. That's why she's gang stalking her own daughter as well. She's engaged in what is monitoring, and she's engaged in things such as having sex with people that I formerly associated with, and those people are also sick having sex with her. These are things that neither party want to address, and that's fine because I'm exposing everything, including the sexual conduct of those that are gang stalking me while they engage in a sex cult together with each other. It's currently 1:46 a.m. The people of the state are pacing. All right, it's not traffic. The impossible light activity is speaking to what is pacing. It's ongoing surveillance, and it's very sick and demonic. These are demons that would go to that resort to be on the roads and the highways at 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning just to engage in stalking. And it is literally that specific and unique. That is the priority. That's why the impossible light, that's why the supernatural environment is there. That's also why they engage in a kidnapping. That's how concerned the demon possessed are, contrary to the way that you're supposed to think that life operates and what you're supposed to think that everybody's concerned with and what you're supposed to think about yourself and how much of a priority you're not. It's just not the truth. Surveillance is underway pursuant to monitoring. Demons are monitoring. The government is monitoring, and it's demonic. All right. It's currently 1:47 a.m. This is P.O.C. All right, it's 1:49 a.m. You'll see Ontario Police, where I have multiple shadows, gang stalking at 636 North Vine Avenue. That's the 7-Eleven at Vine and G Street, where the Ontario Police engaged in kidnapping, by the way, on in January of 2000. Jason 19 engaged in kidnapping with Lester Keys at the same 7-Eleven, where 636 North Vine Avenue. That's where you'll see the demon with their foot on the brakes at the stop sign. They're stalking in the path, and they're doing so while I am seated where all of the entity is aware of where I'm at and who I am and what I'm doing on my phone. And that's the police gang stalking at the stop sign, crossing path, stalking me, and doing so at 1:50 a.m. Doing so while stopping at the stop sign and remaining stopped at that stop sign, and there's no other traffic or anything. They're monitoring me as I'm taking a picture of them. They're monitoring me while they're driving on the street. They're monitoring while they're on the opposite side of the same street, just stalking and listening to everything that I'm stating right now. That's the Ontario Police, a police department that's engaged in stalking conduct. All right, they're doing so while they're engaging in what is exercising fictitious authority under the law. You are not coming upon someone that, for example, violating the any code, the penal code for stealing. There you go. For stealing, when you're engaging in what is stalking that person and you know exactly what it is that they're doing, that's the entity that's engaging in monitoring and exercising fictitious authority. The Ontario Police are pacing on G Street. Okay, this is the entity that engaged in kidnapping, and the officer that is on video last night at 9 o'clock is the same corrupt agency that's gang stalking, using police vehicles, communication devices, helicopters to engage in criminal surveillance as I expose that domestic terrorist organization, agency, Ontario Police. It's 1:51 a.m. where you will see the Ontario Police stalking in the path with light activity and engineer light. You're paying attention to, you'll see the Ontario Police in that image with the brake lights at the stop sign, intersection of Vine and G Street. And then you're also going to look at that with the juxtaposition of my impossible light activity. The Ontario Police are gang stalking. All right, so that's a psychopath that's stalking you and driving by like they're not focused on you. That's the whole purpose of gang stalking. And it's also a psychopath when they approach you as though they have authority under the law when they're stalking, and that demon is wearing a costume as a police department, exercising authority fictitiously because the government doesn't have any authority to keep you under surveillance, and they're engaging in surveillance while engaging in what is law enforcement. It's 1:52 a.m. P.O.C. 1:54 a.m. Ontario Police crossing path, speeding at what is Vine Avenue and G Street, crossing path at what is 1:54 a.m. and they're blurping just like they were the moment that I took pictures of the engineer light that I'm currently being molested by, while the Ontario Police is engaging in the elements of monitoring as they are aware that they're being documented. Those are demons. Repeatedly crossing path with the people of the state, gang stalking together. Visibly, they're gang stalking on an ongoing basis while the people of the state maintain the elements of monitoring in concert with the Ontario Police Department. I just want to be clear, do not be mistaken. The Colton Police Department engaging in the same criminal system, the Fontana Police Department engaging in the same criminal system. All right, it's not different with regard to the very heavily documented Ontario Police and terrorist leader Mike LORENZ and the demon possessed of the Ontario Police Department. They are exhibiting, demonstrating what is the condition and what is the criminal pattern of conduct, which is demonic, that the gang stalking police officers, which is representing the state, the demons that work for the city, the demons that work in the fire department, the demons that work for the municipality, the demons that work in the city hall, the demons that are sitting in public office, they are the same entity engaging in the pattern of conduct, the criminal system of surveillance. So the Ontario Police Department is providing insight as I document their obsessive stalking. So the sound of that blurping is audible activity in engineer light, and this demon begins speeding with regard to knowledge that I'm documenting it and is stalking me in doing so. What the Ontario Police is doing is literally, it's only about me. And knowing that I'm sitting on the sidewalk at 1:56 a.m. and they are stalking me, and that's exactly what they were doing inside of Tracy Banks' apartment. They were stalking, and they engaged in a kidnapping upon stalking. It's 1:56 a.m. P.O.C. Ontario International Airport at 325 West G Street. That's called audible activity, where there's no airport where the planes are landing, lowering in elevation, or taking off, heightening in elevation at 325 West G Street. And I am at the TABOR Professional Building, 320 G Street, where that's the maintenance of audible activity, where I have 4 shadows that are perpendicular. Gang stalking with the Ontario Police are stalking in the path all around, behind buildings, lurking on side streets, crossing path, while the entity is maintaining the elements together. This is surveillance. It's 2 a.m. P.O.C. Okay, that is the audible activity as though a plane is taking off over here. There's no planes taking off over 325 West G Street. That's audible activity in the same exact impossible light. And that is also evidence that the Ontario Police is stalking me right now. And so is the city of Ontario. This is the state. This is state surveillance. And immediately preceding the 2:10 a.m. use of what is an Ontario International Airport to engage in gang stalking a woman at 2 o'clock in the morning. The entity is engaging in gang stalking with the prolonged use of amplified train. And so that's at 2:08 a.m., 2:07 a.m. That continues for about a minute and a half, just amplified train activity. And immediately following is amplified plane activity. And the demons, they're just engaging in what is ongoing psychopathic pacing. They're just pacing all around in engineer light. P.O.C. It's currently 2:10 a.m. 2:11 a.m. This is called pacing with foreshadows in the impossible light activity. And the Ontario International Airport maintains an ongoing disclosure regarding departures and arrivals, none of which are going to be over 325 West G Street, hovering over this housing, lowering in elevation. And remember, the entity is focusing on G Street, south of my position, because I'm not inside of Tracy Banks's apartment, where the entity is doing this in a manner that is north of my physical position, meaning flying over Woodside senior apartments. So that's also how you're identifying stalking in planes. And the demons just replicated that in real time while I replayed the recording and the loud amplified plane activity, and immediately engaged in it again, which is evidence speaking to stalking and stalking with activity. And engaging in stalking when your stalking conduct is being documented is also psychopathic. That's what the demon possessed are doing. And the bigger picture regarding the documentation of gang stalking using airports, using commercial planes, is also shown in the specific environment, while the planes deviate based on where I'm at in that environment. 2:12 a.m. P.O.C. Those are the demons, the people of the state, that are pacing like the Ontario Police Department in engineered light. They're engaging in what is crossing path in the sky space and all around me and on the roads and the highways around. This is P.O.C. The demons of the Ontario International Airport are not flying behind me over Woodside Senior Apartments, because I am on G Street and they maintain position like I documented what is south of my person. That's the entity that's gang stalking by planes. That is the formula of gang stalking using the commercial planes, and the formula is also recognized in this specific environment. That's why you see Alan D. WAPNER being documented on video where the fake sun is over Woodside Senior Apartments, and after 4 p.m. The Ontario International Airport is flying directly over Woodside Senior Apartments while I am on the sidewalk walking out of Unit 51, which belongs to the psychopath that engages in what is sex with my peers, Tracy Banks and Jason Isaac Fields, and engaging in criminal summoning with the Ontario Police, who are gang stalking now, the City of Ontario that's gang stalking now, while they are maintaining that clear evidence of stalking in commercial planes. And I just wanted, in case you did not understand that, psychopaths who are the demon possessed are engaging in domestic terrorism using commercial planes. All right, that is impossible audible activity, the amplified train in the same light. Criminal surveillance is ongoing. Plane, train, Ontario Police, plane, train. That's the P.O.C. where the state is engaging in the demented pattern of stalking with noise. Demons do that while they're stalking in engineered light. P.O.C. It's 2:15 a.m. All right, 2:10, 2:11, then train activity, 2:15 a.m. This is the incessant amplified audible activity. It's not even the actual sound of planes. This is the demonic method, which is amplified in volume while the entity is maintaining aerial surveillance flying over in planes.
The entity is doing so in the same way. So let me help you understand this. What I mean by that, the demons are engaging in what is stalking by helicopter, and that doesn't cause the entire apartment building to engage in what is vibrating and shaking. It doesn't create an earthquake inside of the apartment. That's also speaking to what is demonic. That's what the demon possessed are doing with train activity and plane activity. And this is what an entity is doing, seeking to psychologically torture somebody. And it doesn't make the target individual look mentally ill. It's showing the psychopaths who are the demons, gang stalking. And this is removing Michael GERKEN from office, Mike LORENZ from office, Paul Leon from office, Alan D. WAPNER from office. The demons that are part of those corrupt departments, gang stalking as a whole government operation that's obsessed with surveillance and not the proper operation of a government that has no legitimate interest in maintaining criminal surveillance. That's also satanic in nature. That's also relevant when you're looking at the high frequency of plane activity over G Street. And then you're juxtaposing that with what the entity is doing. If this is where the planes were maintaining presence when I'm inside of Tracy Banks' apartment, I also would never have heard it, but I documented it. And I also documented them flying over the apartment complex. I documented them hovering over the roof of the apartment complex. I documented them flying over me while the fake sun is over me at that apartment complex. It's flying over G Street because I'm right here at G Street. That's identifying gang stalking using commercial planes. This is P.O.C. It's 2:17 a.m. 60 seconds later. Well, that was 2:15, so it's 2:17 a.m. And that's again plane, train. This is documentation of audible activity, and the people of the state are engaged in this. This is again what the people of the state are being prosecuted for. The entire neighborhood, 325 West G Street. The entity that's gang stalk is 630 North Fern Avenue. The entity 636 North Vine Avenue, they're gang stalking inside of the 7-Eleven. They're gang stalking while they're making purchases. They're on surveillance cameras. They're pacing in and out of the store. They're using communication devices, engaging in federal stalking. And they're engaging in surveillance, driving all around the block. Ontario police is just staring at a communication device, sitting in the dark in a vehicle, wearing a police uniform, monitoring, listening to everything that I'm stating, and while I am documenting the P.O.C. The high plane and train activity is pursuant to what the people of the state are doing with the government, who engages in what is heavy gang stalking, also using helicopters, which also points directly back at the people of the state. So the demons are showing their own mental illness while they engage in that P.O.C. And they are stalking at 2:19 in the morning. They're also obsessively monitoring my vagina. And that's what you are never forgetting when you are going to the extent to stalk with police departments, to stalk with commercial planes, to stalk with ridiculous sounds such as the sound of the train miles away from the train tracks, not to be heard in anybody's house or apartment over here, and also not over at the Laurelwood Apartments either. This is an entity stalking with audible activity, stalking with impossible light activity, stalking in the path, gang stalking. P.O.C. It's 2:19 a.m. I just want to make sure that's documented. Pay attention to the evidence. 2:10, 2:12, 2:15, 2:17, and this is going in between plane and train activity. The high plane activity, again, the hour, also the zoning, the amplified audible activity interfering with quiet enjoyment, and also buying a house and what's entailed in buying a house, and the entity engaging in what is stalking with amplified plane activity. All of this is relevant. There's a whole big picture when I'm documenting the entity engaging in what is that campaign of one plane after another, after another, after another right now. While it is, again, the demon possessed are engaging in what is very, very sick. These are demons that feed off of your like energy. And so they are, what they're doing doesn't work on me. So with regard to the ordinary target individual, you do something and they are looking for a reaction, then they do it again, looking for a reaction, do it again, they're looking for a reaction. I'm documenting in order to prosecute and helping you understand the P.O.C., helping you understand the demented mind state, the psyche behind the demon-possessed psychopath that's gang stalking, and it's evidence that's going to be used against the co-defendant, the people of the state, and it's evidence that's going to be used against the corrupt government actors who are stalking via the police, via the municipality, via the international airport. That's what the entity is engaging in, and it's very foolish with regard to the provision of evidence. And then that, in addition to their kidnapping, they're engaging in criminal summoning, they're engaging in criminal defamation, they're engaging in the practice of medicine while they're gang stalking as well. And this is directly relevant to what Arrowhead Regional Medical Center is engaged in, knowingly, intentionally, continuously, while they provide that. But understand what the demons are engaging in. That's their pattern. They engage in something, they want you to react. They engage in something, they want you to that's relevant to psychological torture. This is a prosecution. And so the demon possessed are being exposed, understanding their tactics, which is also informative with regard to those understanding monitoring by the demon possessed. And it is a spirit that is relying on and counting on and betting on and obsessed with some sort of reaction from you. This is an entity that is, again, very unintelligent and is more obsessed with me than understanding the big picture, that they're being documented in order to be prosecuted. And then when they engage in kidnapping, that's a part of the documentation. That's why they engage in kidnapping in the first place, because they're stalking. And I'm exposing it. But nonetheless, pay attention to that timestamp, the Ontario International Airport, the disclosures regarding arrivals and departures, the location where I'm at, the 320 Tabor Professional Building. Across the street is third-party facilitating venue 325 West G Street in Ontario, California. And it is distinct from being inside of Tracy Banks's apartment, where the entity concentrates amplified plane activity, as I've documented, on very a wealth of documentation on video, as well as images replete with what is the specific environment. It's not just the presence of the planes and the helicopters, it's also that in that specific environment, identifying stalkers who do not understand that they're being documented, every tactic with regard to understanding the demons who are not accomplishing the purposes of the satanic system of targeting against me. I'm helping you understand it in order to also diagnose and prosecute. It's 2:24 p.m. P.O.C. This is also why the entity engaged in a criminal act of kidnapping in order to accomplish an illegal means of an eviction, so that they can gang stalk me while I'm on the sidewalk outside. Just to want to remind you about that. P.O.C. Amplified plane activity, as I resume documenting right now at 2:27 a.m. Yeah, were the planes taking off from Terminal 2 and Terminal 4? There's no plane activity at this zoning area, at this elevation. You're not going to hear it. It's not even going to be over here when they're taking off from Terminal 2 and Terminal 4. If you see where United Airlines terminal is, or if you see where Amazon Prime terminal is, if you see where all the airlines are, the entity is necessarily targeting by coming over into this sky space. And you also know that because of the engineer light and the fake sun documentation. The entity is engaging in very obvious stalking tactics, and it's also helping you understand the rationale of the demon possessed, who are again psychopaths that are running around loose, and they're in positions of government, positions of authority. This is the problem with the Ontario police that need to be disbanded. It is 2:28. Demons like David Siegler, the director at the Arrowhead Regional Medical Center, another maniacal psychopath, in taking pleasure in criminal defamation, monitoring an engineered light, seeking to engage in arbitrary misuse of the Welfare and Institutions Code, and proudly doing so, arrogantly doing so, but also very foolishly doing so, not understanding that even in the fictitious exercise of authority under the Welfare and Institutions Code, which is the gang stalker, you have to satisfy the legal criteria. And so demons like David Siegler belong in federal prison, and they are unfit to be in the medical profession. That's what's gang stalking in the state of California. All right, it is currently 2:28 a.m. This is P.O.C. 2:29 a.m. The people of the state crossing path on the sidewalk at the same time. This is exactly what you see the people of the state doing at Woodside Senior Apartments, walking along the sidewalk while the Ontario International Airport is flying in the sky space over the apartment complex, not up over what is 325 West G Street. This is the people of the state gang stalking together with the aerial surveillance methods. This is happening at 2:29 a.m. This is a male. You need to understand, when the entity is gang stalking, there are no mystery with regard to acts of kidnapping, with regard to acts of rape, with regard to acts of murder. The entity is engaging in targeting together, and the gang stalking police departments know exactly who committed the crime. These are the psychopaths that engage in criminal summoning and then arrive as though they're conducting an investigation. You're witnessing the act of criminal monitoring together in concert with the people of the state who commit criminal conduct with that corrupt government, and keeps itself employed by operating as the government that is maintaining the business of the people, engaging in what is investigation, maintaining law and order. These demons are gang stalking together. So this is a Latino male wearing a plaid shirt, jean shorts, and white and gray Jordans. He's wearing a black cap, and he's in operation of his communication device. He's walking by in that engineered light where I have 4 perpendicular shadows. He is crossing path with his phone in operation, lighting up his face. He's stalking in the path. He's engaged in federal stalking while the plane activity coexists with his crossing path. This is the entity gang stalking. All right. The elements of monitoring: light activity, relevant positioning, audible activity through the plane activity, and it's also audible activity while I narrate the P.O.C. in real time. This is 2:31 a.m. That's the public corruption in operation. This is what Woodside Senior Apartments is doing while the fake sun remains over me at unit number 51. The people that said are pacing on that sidewalk in front of Tracy Banks' apartment, while the airport and the helicopters engage in what is pacing over that sky space, while they're maintaining presence in front of the apartment as the gang stalking is underway by the demons in units 33 through 64, sharing in that pattern of conduct. So plenty of times I've documented on video. There's the fake sun over me, and as I document, the Ontario police is simultaneously crossing path in the sky space while you'll see the demons walking by on the sidewalk. The entity is engaging in what is gang stalking together. That's exactly what they just engaged in at 2:30 a.m. together. That's the people of the state, not the individual. That the individual is an entity, and it's also a demon-possessed one. P.O.C.
Erica Lorraine Spencer here. The following is an audio version of video evidence that is captured for purposes of mass distribution, which is why I am capturing it and sharing it on the podcast for evidentiary purposes, and also to reveal the wealth of documentation that extends beyond what it is that I document on podcasts. Much of the video and images will be published onto the YouTube channel, the P.O.C., and it is also shared on the Google Drive. Again, this is for purposes of revealing what I remain subject to, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is a demonic system of state surveillance that the government is practicing in concert with the people of the state, and it should be known and well understood that for the government to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, this is a crime that is committed with a criminal purpose to threaten the life of an American citizen. This is to conspire to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen while engaging in a perpetual sex offense in concert with the people of the state. So you see the shadow is in front, and then the shadow is behind him. It has nothing to do with the light fixtures coexisting. This is pacing via traffic, going in opposite directions, and the engineer light and the plane activity, and you cannot see the plane. The entity is covering up the sky space, and this is intentional because this isn't the natural environment. The fake sun is evidence of what is the unnatural environment. The engineer light is evidence of the unnatural environment. So let me show you what he's doing. This is where he's walking by an operation of his communication device. This is where the demons are obsessively pacing in commercial planes, evident through the amplified audible activity. This is demonic. So a plane doesn't even have to actually be flying over for the audible activity of plane engines to be sounding. It's also outside of the zoning provisions. It's also that which is not going to occur when you're taking off from Terminal 2 and Terminal 4, just with regard to a logical common sense scrutiny regarding the P.O.C. In addition to that, I have 1 shadow, 2 shadow, 3 shadows. That Latino male is stalking.
and they're stalking as an entity. This is where the entity is relying on presence in the path, coexisting, crossing a path while I'm sitting on the sidewalk, while the demons are maintaining amplified plane activity over and over and over again, which is what I'm documenting by podcast. While he's walking, he's got a shadow here. You see, I've got two shadows over here. He's stalking, and so are they. That's the P.O.C. His shadow is moving. It's moving in front of me, and then you'll see when he was over here, his shadow appears on the behind him on the vehicle. That's where the Ontario International Airport is gang stalking, as evident through the use of plane engines, and this is absolutely demonic. The shadow that's in front is gone. That's identifying the entity acting as one. This is where the Ontario police are gang stalking. They're crossing path together, driving an engineer light. They're stopping at the stop sign, gang stalking. They're gang stalking with the Ontario International Airport, gang stalking with the Ontario police, who you saw in video following me from Starbucks to the People of the State venue on F Street, while they are gang stalking even right now, while the entity is maintaining this specific environment that defies nature. It is not explained by building lights. Lights do not create multiple shadows. You see this gate, it's appearing on the ground. It's crisscross, and it's also appearing on the wall. That's my upright shadow. This is where the demons are stuck with amplified plane activity and being aided by the demons who are up at 2 o'clock in the morning stalking, criminal monitoring, surveillance. And they're also obsessively monitoring my vagina. All right, this is a sex offense committed by the entity. This is my shadow. There's another shadow, and here's my shadow here, and let me show you that. This is impossible light activity. Here's one shadow way over there, and here's one shadow right here. This is where the entity is engaging in obsessive pacing. And this is where the Ontario police are gang stalking as well. But they're around the perimeter. The entity is maintaining surveillance together. P.O.C. It's the City of Ontario gang stalking. 2:36 a.m. All right, the video you just listened to is a being converted for the podcast, but it is visual regarding what the demons are willing, as I've documented, also fully willing and engaged in, providing evidence of an audible nature for the world to witness and for it to be prosecuted, because the audible evidence is as probative as the visible evidence. And with the impossible light activity, where the people of the state are pacing, because that's what's relevant with regard to the shadows, where the entity is flying at the location where I'm at, the 320 Tabor at 325 West G Street, and the people of the state are gang stalking in the manner that is speaking to the P.O.C. It is currently 2:37 a.m. The entity is maintaining the elements of monitoring while pacing all around the relevant position, and doing so right now again. This is the entity that's obsessively gang stalking and sought to engage in what is a kidnapping so that they can. Tracy Banks, remember her audible activity. I want you to get out. I want you to go. Get out. Leave. She's stalking right now. This is the entity gang stalking. And that's, again, the psychopath that's engaging in what is a delusional act regarding you're a demon, and you're gang stalking. And where I go, you're following. That is evident through the P.O.C. All right, the entity is engaging in what a high malice when criminal summoning, as the Ontario police engaged in it on video. Those demons are gang stalking with the Ontario International Airport. Doing so in that video that you just listened to, you will see my shadow traveling around from the back to the front, and then disappearing in front of me and appearing behind me. That has nothing to do with natural light activity or light that's causing shadows causing in a natural environment. That's entirely demonic, and the amplified plane engines is demonic. It's audible activity in amongst what is engineered light and presence. The entity is doing so while I'm speaking, while my audible narration is accomplishing monitoring. It's not a deviation from the P.O.C. when a demon is crossing path with the demons that are using amplified plane engines. It's the same P.O.C. It's currently 2:39 a.m. and that video is going to be published on Google Drive, but it's being added to the podcast because it's chronological documentation, one act after another. It's a ceaseless P.O.C., but I'm documenting the P.O.C. that remains underway while the entity engaged in kidnapping and is still engaging in gang stalking while I'm outside. The police are engaging in what is stalking right now, and they are engaging in what is the fictitious exercise of authority as a corrupt gang stalking law enforcement agency that's engaging in surveillance at the same time. It is currently 2:39 a.m. P.O.C. right, 2:41 a.m. It's to be noted that the demons, including Tracy Banks and her sex partner Jason Isaac Fields, are also monitoring as an obsessed entity, engaging in voyeurism, engaging in watching me document and analyze and publish and expose while they're gang stalking. Those are the sex offenders that are engaging in what is that pattern of conduct. They also did the same when they're kidnapping, and they engage in what is voyeurism and watching you document and publish it. These are the sex offenders that are engaging in that P.O.C. So I just want you to be clear of all of the entity while Alan D. WAPNER's criminal engagement in state surveillance is being exposed. The demons, including Jason Isaac Fields, the government is engaging in what is obsessively monitoring, and doing so while they're engaging in what is voyeurism. That is knowledge that you're being documented, and that sick obsession with gang stalking is also exhibited while the entity engages in such voyeurism conduct. And that's inherent to the P.O.C. So I just always be mindful of everything that Tracy Banks is stating while she is a gang stalker. The city of Ontario is proving that, and they have already demonstrated that literally her gang stalking with the Ontario police under the fake sun over her apartment building. And then those demons are inside engaging in what is, oh, well, what's the medication? Oh, okay, well, it's audible activity. They're gang stalking together, and they are gang stalking now while I'm outside of Tracy Banks' physical presence. This is an entity, a public entity that's also a demon-possessed one that is monitoring together everywhere that you're going, maintaining the elements of monitoring. Tracy Banks is stalking right now. She's a psychopath. And she's also engaging in what is high-level malice while making such audible activity. And her co-defendant, the people of the state, the city of Ontario, continuously provides evidence against her and the people of the state. And these are psychopaths that are engaging in obsessively monitoring, watching while gang stalking. By watching, I mean, how do you react to it? I'm documenting in order to prosecute, and they are still engaging in that sort of obsession. Stalking just to obsess over watching me be stalked. Okay, that's what the demon possessed are engaged in. This is what Jason Isaac Fields is engaged in. This is what the U.S. government is engaged in. This is an inhumane and unconstitutional and unethical government practice pursuant to monitoring, which is ongoing in the country. This is exposing that targeting system in furtherance of murder and kidnapping. That's the P.O.C. So understand that and always be cognizant of that. Don't forget that when I'm documenting this 2 a.m. heavy plane activity when I'm on G Street in Fern right now at 320 G Street and facing 325 West G Street, third-party facilitating venue. It's 2:44 a.m. P.O.C. That is audible activity and impossible light activity, speaking to criminal monitoring that's underway at 325 West G Street at 630 North Fern Avenue. The people of the state gang stalking in all of the houses. The people of the state gang stalking at 636 North Vine Avenue, the 7-Eleven. The people of the state gang stalking at Woodside Senior Apartments at 302 West G Street, at 408 West G Street, all 144 units. The entity is maintaining the elements of monitoring while the people of the state maintain presence in that environment. And the Ontario police are a bunch of demons pacing all around, monitoring all night long. While that train activity, which is amplified in volume, alternating with the sound of plane activity, amplified in volume, all of it is demonic. So is the light activity, which is demonic. So are the people who are in that environment. They are demonic. They are stalking together. It is 2:53 a.m. where the state of California is stalking me. And this is the ongoing investigation exposing criminal surveillance in the state of California. And it needs to be known that the U.S. government, specifically state actors, hitmen, including Tracy Banks and Jason Isaac Fields, are directly engaging and interested in maintaining a means of kidnapping, of criminally defaming, of spiritually attacking while the government is simultaneously gang stalking. And this is relevant to the intent to murder by Jason Isaac Fields, the intent to kidnap by Jason Isaac Fields, the intent to criminally defame in order to kidnap by Jason Isaac Fields, and it's shared with his sex partner, Tracy Banks. This is all demonic, but it's criminal surveillance that you can prosecute the government for, and this is that investigation exposing it. That's why you have 2:53 a.m. impossible train activity and ongoing impossible audible activity of planes that are supposed to be taking off from the airport at Terminals 2 and Terminal 4, and the impossible light activity of what is multiple shadows moving, vacillating all around my person, and perpendicular upright shadows while the people of the state are stalking you all around, walking all around, driving up. They're stalking. They're monitoring. It's 2:54 a.m. This is P.O.C. It is currently 2:58 a.m. This is the criminal surveillance that the entity is doing at every single venue where I'm at, including the Economy Inn at a 2301 Euclid Avenue, 2301 South Euclid Avenue, when the entity was flying over my hotel room at Economy Inn, making U-turns, flying over and making U-turns in the sky space, gang stalking by commercial airline planes. Again, nowhere near what is anything having to do with taking off, engaging in a destination, doing so at all hours, day and night, and doing so with regard to the evidence of the fake sun being directly over my hotel room. This is what the entity, the U.S. government, the city of Ontario, the state of California, demons like Tracy Banks and her hitman, sex offending, her sex partner, Jason Isaac Fields, are engaging in while I am documenting that at what is 320 G Street, the TABOR professional building at 2:59 a.m., where the entity has demons flying commercial planes, flying over this street, engaging in gang stalking. The entity is engaging in this P.O.C. with regard to the body of evidence that's speaking to what is documented by gang stalking by commercial planes since 2018. And it's not just shown to be the presence of planes, but the presence of planes in the specific environment, that specific environment which is tailored to me, as I've shown that pattern of conduct. And this is what an entity, for example, at 2301 Euclid Avenue at my hotel room at Economy Inn in Euclid Avenue, where the entity was purely stalking, flying over my room day and night, and doing so in that specific environment. This is what the entity is doing. So just another example, and it's relevant to the gang stalking conduct by the demon possessed. It does include people I want to make sure I name. Yes, United Airlines. Yes, L&D WAPNER. Yes, the Ontario International Airport. Yes, the heads of all the corrupt departments in Ontario, including the mayor and the mayor's office. But it also includes the demon possessed, which includes Jason Isaac Fields. This demon is engaged in what is spiritual attacks, trying to use witchcraft while the entity is gang stalking. Gang stalking is the practice of witchcraft as well, but spiritually attacking. And that spiritual attack also takes the form of what is the entity that is gang stalking in relevant position, and also spiritually attacking, maintaining ongoing psychological torture. And this is what the entity is combining and is still doing so, and engaging in things such as kidnapping, and that is unsuccessful, achieving what is a criminal means of, again, breaking the law, an unlawful eviction, in order to just gang stalk me while I'm now outside. Speaking to their obsession as well. It's also speaking to what is psychopathic, what's coming out of the mouth of the demon-possessed gang stalker that is stalking, all right? And then also seeking to criminally defame you, and in doing so, but you're stalking me everywhere that I'm going. And that's, again, what I'm approached with, what I'm documenting, and that's why you will get every syllable uttered in the exchange with this, with Jason Isaac Fields' sex partner, his co-conspirator, these two together, engaging in some sort of method of trying to, well, we'll be in a relationship together, as though that's not making me jealous. That is not making him attractive. He engages in sexual activity with all manner of people, who knows how many people he has impregnated. This demon's engaging in what is psychological torture and voyeurism, is gang stalking and spiritually attacking me, and seeking also to use it as a means to threaten me while I'm still documenting it. And he is engaging in the criminal pattern of conduct. This is what the entity is doing. Somebody that is targeting is somebody that is going to stop engaging in that pattern of conduct, will engaging what is removal from that pattern of conduct, reporting the pattern of conduct, not engaging in voyeurism, not engaging in sexual activity with the hitman, your mother, gang stalking, criminal defamation with her, targeting with her, kidnapping with her, having secret babies with her, and then engaging in what is spiritual. These are the likes of this terrorist, Jason Isaac Fields. Gang stalking with these demons that are crossing path on G Street. It is one entity. It's one. These are the demon-possessed engaging in this manner of attacking the life of an American citizen. And it's criminal conduct, it's state action, it's domestic terrorism, it's demonic activity. But I do get into the details of what the demon-possessed have engaged in. Those whose name I know, such as Tracy Banks, such as her gang-stalking son, Eric Spencer, and those who she relies on to target with her on her communication device when she's pacing all around inside of her apartment. In Engineer Light, where she had the Ontario police inside of that same apartment, and Engineer Light gang-stalking via criminal defamation, which is, again, sanctioned by her sex partner, who is, again, behind the scenes gang stalking, spiritually attacking as well, seeking to obstruct justice, and is doing so with impunity. Jason Isaac Fields is a long documented gang stalker since 2018. And he is, Tracy Banks mentions that I called my dad, Leroy Spencer, which is, again, interesting if he actually reported that to Tracy Banks. But nonetheless, that's neither here nor there, because it was a non sequitur for her to bring that up when I'm talking about what it is she has no evidence of, which is making up information about medication and mental illness in order to get the police to write it down and engage in a kidnapping while they're gang stalking together. But she also didn't mention that her sex partner also is somebody that I call Jason Isaac Fields, and she's also aware of that, but she didn't mention that. But she knows that Jason Isaac Fields and I spoke on the phone, and Jason Isaac Fields, again, referencing the fact that he's married, referencing the fact that he has a son, and I point these details out because these demons are co-conspirators. These demons are spiritually attacking me together. These demons are engaging in what is targeting with the state that is interested in my personal demise regarding criminal defamation. This is why Tracy Banks engages in criminal defamation. Apart from also the entity that I'm documenting, the people of the state, they also want criminal defamation via kidnapping because I'm documenting them. All right. So when I'm calling out a demon-possessed fake Jew such as Alan D. Wapner, when I'm calling out the demon-possessed such as Linda Reyes gang stalking as a community manager at the facilitating venue, yes, they're very much interested in that. The entity is also invested in it as your relatives, your so-called family, your so-called friends, which is the role that Jason Isaac Fields played while he was having sex with my mother behind my back, having secret children, engaging in what is gang stalking me together, engaging in what is abusing a government position and doing so, spiritually attacking and engaging in what is psychological torture in doing so, and then the whole voyeurism aspect. This is what the demon-possessed engage in, and this is what Jason Isaac Fields and Tracy Banks engage in together. And then you're witnessing that malice when this demon Tracy Banks and both Jason Isaac Fields, which Tracy Banks didn't mention that since my dad reported to her, she didn't mention that Jason Isaac Fields also spoke to me on the phone, that I called him as well. And her sex partner picked up the phone. But he is also not reporting the fact that he's had sex with Tracy Banks, which is highly, highly abnormal and inappropriate for somebody that doesn't want to be seen as a demon, for somebody that doesn't want to be seen as a stalker. But she is, and that's also relevant to her sexual activity with Jason Isaac Fields and the gang stalking conduct that I remain subject to. Ontario police crossing path at 3:06 a.m. while I'm documenting the gang stalkers Jason Isaac Fields and Tracy Lemire Banks. All right. The entity is engaging in that P.O.C. Jason Isaac Fields' phone number where I contacted him is 702-373-6960. He is contacted at this phone where I'm contacting him at the state facilitating venue. He's monitoring me while he's on the phone. He's monitoring with Arrowhead Regional Medical Center, and he's monitoring me now. And you will pay attention as I document Jason Isaac Fields in the apartment where Tracy Banks resides, at the facilitating venue where Tracy Banks resides at Woodside Senior Apartments, at Ovid Family Community Library tonight. The Ontario International Airport engages in amplified playing activity at the Ovid Family Community Library over that senior citizen complex. The entity engages in what is gang stalking by the Ontario Police Department kidnapping on May 29, 2025, when I referenced the fact that they are going to be subject, and they are subject to a return to sender for the demons that they have summoned while gang stalking me in relevant position as well. The demons engaging in what things such as bathroom monitoring as I document this sex offender, Jason Isaac Fields, where the Ontario Police Department are gang stalking with Jason Isaac Fields. As I document him, so the puppets of the Ontario Police Department are pacing in relevant position to communicate a threat, but they're also monitoring in relevant position focused on me. They're stalking me. Impossible light activity, the Ontario police are psychopaths who are stalking me by driving around over and over by the block, okay? And they're doing so at the moment that they are because I'm talking about the sex offender, the gang stalker, Tracy Banks' sex partner, Jason Isaac Fields, who was monitoring at Arrowhead Regional Medical Center and is engaging in what is psychological torture, state action, and federal group stalking and monitoring, state action, and the intent to obstruct justice by repeatedly kidnapping, and also engaging in gang stalking, the unlawful eviction, so that they can gang stalk me while I am removed from the apartment where the entity was targeting in the first place, and Tracy Banks was doing me no favor. It's the same threat while I am outside. The entity wants you to stop documenting, and that is again an intolerable threat posed by the government. It is currently, again, while the Ontario police are pacing around the block in relevant position, and amplified playing activity coexist at 3:08 a.m. This is P.O.C. That's the city of Ontario, Ontario Police, the Ontario International Airport. Mike LORENZ, Alan D. WAPNER. All right, these are the very psychopathic, very highly a maniacal level of passive aggressive conduct when you're stalking someone and you keep your back to them, when you're stalking someone and you're repeatedly driving by them, when you're gang stalking. That's what the Ontario police are doing now the third time at 3:09 a.m. This is P.O.C. Yeah, crossing path, driving down Laurel, just pacing around the block. This is P.O.C. The entity is engaging in what is stalking and not what would be any basis for any detention, not having any probable cause, not learning any information when the people of the state call the Ontario Police Department or call 911. This is the demon possessed engaging in what is surveillance as a police department. And this is relevant to Jason Isaac Fields, who belongs in federal prison for gang stalking with his sex partner, Tracy Banks. It's 3:10 a.m. where the Ontario police are intentionally communicating a threat in the specific environment while I document their co-defendant, Jason Isaac Fields. This is the government gang stalking. P.O.C. All right, gang stalking with the City of Ontario, license plate, and with the Ontario Police Department. 8GNZ 595, I believe. I can't really see that license plate, but I will get the people of the state as the Ontario police are repeatedly pacing around the block, gang stalking with 323 G Street in Ontario, California. That's a third-party facilitating venue. I've been documenting them, by the way. If you pay attention to the documentation, the PDFs uploaded to the Google Drive on a daily basis regarding Woodside Senior Apartments - the people. I am including a sample of the people of the state, all of their addresses, the shopping plaza over here, Woodside Senior Apartments, the people of the state and their homes around the block with regard to the immediate vicinity. This is statewide surveillance, and but I am including what is already included. 325 West G Street is already documented. 323 West G Street is already documented, and they're gang stalking with the police who are driving around the block repeatedly. 8JUL 685 is gang stalking and threatening with the Ontario Police Department while I document their co-defendant, Jason Isaac Fields. That's the entity communicating a threat when they know that you're documenting in the same way that you blurp the Ontario Police vehicle as I document the license plate of a third party, in the same way that you blurp the Ontario Police vehicle again as I capture perpendicular shadows, 4 of them. These are the demons that are stalking and engaging in kidnapping while they're stalking. You're disbanded for that. It's currently 3:12 a.m. The people of the state are engaging in gang stalking with the police, and that's a basis of prosecution. P.O.C. These houses are where the Ontario International Airport are pacing over as well. So that license plate I just read, residing at third-party facilitating venue 323 West G Street in Ontario, where the Ontario International Airport is gang stalking with the people of the state that remain at that venue, sharing in the elements of monitoring. That's what's relevant when the government engages in gang stalking and tells directly on the people of the state who you document in relevant position as well. P.O.C. Ontario Police gang stalking, crossing path again, pacing on what is G Street at 3:14 a.m. Stalking, they're stalking me, so just want to go ahead and document that. Just driving around the block, back and forth in Engineered Light. And I'm going to get some more. 636 North Vine Avenue is gang stalking. 8SPL 710, in case I didn't document. 7WON 118. And Ontario Police is pacing where the entity is pacing in amplified planes and with amplified train. So you're never forgetting the big picture. All of what the entity is doing together for LTC 526. And where you have impossible light activity, you're talking about stalking by the government as you witness them doing it in your face in that environment. My shadow is traveling on the opposite side of the street, magnified in size. This is where the Ontario Police are gang stalking right now. And they're gang stalking at, let me be clear, 3:15 in the morning. There's no appropriate time to engage in stalking as a police department, but I like to make sure that you're understanding these details regarding the obsession of the demon-possessed who are maintaining hovering, psychopathic, perverted, demented methods of obsessive monitoring. License 9LJK101. That third party is residing in unit number 41 at Woodside Senior Apartments. And they are gang stalking while the Ontario Police are gang stalking in my face, crossing path JC541 handicap. All right, gang stalking at 7-Eleven. Sitting in the parking lot, engaged in relevant positioning. My shadow is appearing at a distance away from me on a sign on the street. They are stalking with the Ontario Police, license 8GNZ959 P.O.C. It's 3:16 a.m. And all of this entity is engaging in what is monitoring while I'm documenting somebody by name, including Jason Isaac Fields. The entity does so with regard to your documentation of the entity, very specific documentation of the entity, and the entity engages in what is monitoring, communicating a threat. Gang stalking by helicopter, gang stalking by plane activity, gang stalking by amplified, whatever method. While you are, for example, impossible light activity scanning 20 plus times inside of Tracy Banks' apartment when I document the demon, Alan D. Wapner, by name, which I documented last week. That is the entity that engages in that pattern of conduct, and the fact of engineered light is already established. So the entity that engages in seeking to criminally defame you fails in that, and that's what I mean with regard to alleging. But let me also point something out about the kidnapping that the entity just committed, and the entity includes Jason Isaac Fields. May 29, 2025, the entity is engaging in this kidnapping and alleging mental illness, and the mental illness has nothing to do with, not only is there no mental illness and it's malicious, and literally just putting mental illness next to your name, that's how the entity engages in what is trying to establish you as somebody being mentally ill when you're then kidnapped by those that are gang stalking in the medical profession. And that is also all the facts of that case, all the angles of that case are already established. This is what the entity is seeking to do with regard to obstruction of justice. The alleged mental illness has nothing to do with the pattern of conduct and documenting it and the ability to legally analyze and prove that criminal system as well. 7DJV576, I believe, crossing path. And the entity is engaging in the pattern of conduct. The documentation is proving that. And the Tracy Banks and the people of the state, the government, Arrowhead Regional Medical Center, these gang stalking medical professionals are alleging harm to being a threat to other people. I'm going to break this down in the publishing of this kidnapping, but I just want to go over this really quickly, how it's actually also irrelevant. The entity is just trying to defame your character, period. And also defamation by any means, just so that you don't listen to the speaker. But also that doesn't work. That doesn't actually work. But I understand that a lot of people do not exercise independent thought, and also with regard to being dismissive, that's the entity's purpose in the first place, to be dismissive, period. Where you even refer to mental illness, but it's not even relevant with the ability to document the pattern of conduct, with the reality of the pattern of conduct, and making an allegation about mental illness, stating that, and failing to establish by merely, in other words, just name calling and having no evidence to support the name calling, but that you're a harm to other people. Remember, Tracy Banks is stating that she's being physically attacked by me in her apartment, which was a lie. And so that's the basis of stating that mental illness exists. That has nothing to do with my documentation, speaking to the pattern of conduct. In addition to that, in addition to the fact that it's not true, in addition to the fact that it's criminal defamation, it's also irrelevant to the documentation, the evidence, of the pattern of conduct. So just want to point that out. But nonetheless, it's currently 3:20 a.m. The entity is gang stalking by the Ontario police. And those demons are engaging in what is obsessive surveillance and driving by while they know exactly what it is that I'm doing. Very sick behavior by demons that bear badges. That is an embarrassment to law enforcement, as I expose demons like the Ontario Police Department. If you'll recall, May 16, 2025, that podcast that I published on May 16, 2025 was excruciatingly painful with regard to exposing the public corruption, the corrupt law enforcement agencies. And that's also the same day that the Ontario Police Department, the demon-possessed who lack self-control, engaged in what is flying over my head at Tracy Banks's apartment using an Ontario Police Department helicopter. And that fake sun remained over that same apartment building hours later at 5:40 p.m., where the Ontario Police Department is gang stalking with Tracy Banks in the same video, meaning they were sharing in the elements together, because they're also gang stalking together when you're not in the physical presence because of the entity. But Tracy Banks is literally the demon in the path with a method of flashing light under the enduring fake sun that's over the same apartment building that it was at 10:54 in the morning on May 16, 2025, when the Ontario Police Department engaged in what is psychological torture, targeting, clearly proven through the fake sun that remained over that apartment building 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 hours later at 5:40 p.m., where the Ontario police are gang stalking, and it created amplified audible activity, sensational activity inside of her apartment, impossible light activity inside of her apartment. And you also see in that video the fake sun over that same apartment that it was at 10:54 when those demons flew over the top of my head. Those are the demons that followed yesterday, June 3rd, 2025, from Starbucks at 706 West Holt to the people of the state facilitating venue on F Street, and then engaging in what is arriving pursuant to criminal summoning, psychopaths, literally delusional psychopaths, very crazy people, literally crazy. People engage in surveillance and then arrive as though they don't know what's going on. Why did you request that? Those are the demons that are stalking me at 3 o'clock in the morning, driving around in Ontario police vehicles. Okay, so I just wanted to remind you about all that. It is currently 3:22 a.m. This is P.O.C. It's 4:09 a.m. When the entity that's obsessively monitoring without ever taking a break, without ever taking a nap, without even taking any sort of abandonment from the elements of monitoring, is maintaining amplified plane activity at this time. The moment that I observe, and by observation, I don't state it out loud, I'm not writing it down. The moment that I observe at approximately 4:08 a.m., this is when moments later, it's 4:10 a.m., 4:09 a.m., plane activity is amplified. And this is after I'm documenting. So the last time I documented was the last time the entity amplified plane activity. So it's been after a prolonged period. resuming that which the demons are sitting around engaging in voyeurism, monitoring. Remember, spiritually attacking is part of the component of federal group stalking monitoring. This is entirely witchcraft. This is sorcery. This is demonic activity. These are the demon possessed who are targeting, and their targeting conduct is also proven while they are stalking in a demonic environment, which proves also how it is conduct as an entity as opposed to one person, which is not necessarily readily identifiable when that one person is somebody that you don't personally know, which is not required to engage in the pattern of conduct. The strangers are engaging in criminal monitoring, but nonetheless, this is relevant to what is demonic activity. The government's engaging in what is the practice of witchcraft, demonic conduct, while they are targeting somebody that's exposing it. And I'm exposing it because I'm going to prosecute it. And it goes right back to demons who are also spiritually monitoring me, engaging in voyeurism, engaging in government conduct, and that is Jason Isaac Fields and his senior citizen, baby mama, sex partner, high school graduate Tracy Banks, engaging in criminal defamation and criminal summoning for the government on May 29, 2025. 4:11 a.m. amplifying another plane as I document that the entity is stalking me in the spirit, repeating that pattern of conduct is equally engaging in the criminal elements of monitoring. These are the demons that are not capable of logically getting out of the pattern of conduct in order to disprove it, which you can't. You will never disprove the fake sun sitting over an apartment building for 11 hours, in case nobody caught that. It's the P.O.C. It's 4:12 a.m., June 4, 2025. This is P.O.C.
All right, Laurelwood Apartments is coded in impossible light activity. License 9NKW076. And this is the people of the state. Laurelwood Apartments is located again at 204 F Street, F as in Frank. And the entity, this is where the entity is maintaining impossible light activity. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 shadows. And so that is 2, 4, 6, 8 legs, 4 sets of legs. That's impossible light activity. Everything that's sounding and everybody that is present in the environment is engaging in monitoring. And it's a comprehensive system. It's entirely demonic. It's currently 4:22 a.m. P.O.C. The City of Ontario engaging in what is demonic amplification as I'm crossing the path while they're stalking in the path with light. And it's the city that is gang stalking. The people of the state are gang stalking with them, providing evidence against license 7CGZ599, who is stalking in the path, monitoring with communication devices, monitoring the specific environment, which is what amplification serves the purpose of. License 8SHV082. And what you'll see in the images that I captured on the same sidewalk where the same City of Ontario was gang stalking at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning using commercial planes that do not take off over G Street. They do not take off over 325 West G Street. They don't take off over 323 West G Street. They don't take off over Woodside Senior Apartments either. But they were more advanced south because I was not inside of Tracy Banks' apartment. The Ontario International Airport is a gang stalker. The City of Ontario is a gang stalker. And you will see the image of the fake sun directly over my head on that same sidewalk where I captured impossible light activity at nightfall, where the absence of the fake sun is showing you the significance of recognizing that environment where stalking by the government, monitoring by the government that does it with the people is underway. That's what Ontario, the City of Ontario is engaging in. License 8JLL622. It's currently, by the way, 9:07 a.m. So this is before 9 a.m. where the fake sun is over my head at that same address, 320 G Street, the TABOR professional building where I was at, and the entity engaged in the provision of a wealth of documentation of gang stalking by the Ontario International Airport again. License 50087U3, and that is why during the day you saw the fake sun right there. Okay, that sounds like gunshots. That's not emptying the garbage. That's amplified audible activity under what is the fake sun. It is currently, I want to be clear, Kids Empire, giant variety store, WSS shoe style selection, the cleaners, the smoke shop, the Pizza Hut, the nail salon, the water store. This entire shopping plaza is gang stalking, so is every other facilitating venue, all the addresses of the people of the state, in both their facilitating venues where they reside and the facilitating venues where you have what is accessed by the civilian population to engage in commercial exchange, purchases, running a business. They're gang stalking. The city of Ontario there's a demon driving a dumpster truck gang stalking right now. 7 NIM 250, SHL 7821. And that looks like an out-of-state plate. Everybody around me is monitoring me while you're surrounded with a fake sun. Everybody around you is monitoring while you are surrounded with amplified audible activity, which defies nature. Everybody around you is monitoring. This is a Georgia plate. Sam Henry Larry 7821, 8KGG 250, 9CUH 186, 8DGW 388, 6KEG 458. That's a female driving that vehicle. She's gang stalking. And the entity is engaging in federal stalking. It's inherent to the prosecution of the government engaging in criminal surveillance. Surveillance is underway by communication devices. It is currently 9:09 a.m. 7AUN 765. This is P.O.C. City of Ontario gang stalking, crossing path. They're just being in an alley with light activity where their dumpster truck sounds like they're shooting gunfire. Like this is Boys in the Hood with gunfires on microphones. That's amplification. 8ECF 217, 9STZ 273. That's psychological torture that the city of Ontario is engaging in, the government is engaging in. And this is the government that engaged in kidnapping. And so this is the entity that's engaging in that P.O.C. with impunity, stalking somebody all day and all night is what my evidence is showing, and my evidence that I've been capturing for years, by the way. This is P.O.C. 8YNJ 360 with amplified plane activity. Much south of where the plane activity was hovering last night at 320. I'm back at what is the Laurelwood Apartments. Gang stalking law office. This is Robbins and Holdaway at 201 F Street. They're gang stalking with the city of Ontario using amplified plane activity where planes are not flying over the law office in Ontario, hovering. And also they are with regard to gang stalking, but that is not the ordinary or the protocol for planes taken off from that airport. They're doing so in the specific environment as I've identified it. And they're doing so, by the way, while they're monitoring the documentation. So the fools who are providing a tutorial for how domestic terrorism works engages in replicating what it is that I expose about them, what I document, what I reference in real time. And that's also knowledge because of the specific environment that follows. And it is indeed a fake sun that is following you because it's not the natural environment. While you have the sun over you in Texas, and I'm capturing a picture of the fake sun over me at approximately 8:53 a.m., you are looking at the specific environment where the entity is stalking me. P.O.C. 8KCJ336, that's a supernatural occurrence where the demons are stalking with dumpster trucks, creating light activity, audible activity, and it's amplified in volume. Have you seen the City of Ontario gang stalking at Economy Inn? You've seen the City of Ontario gang stalking at at Woodside Senior Apartments, license 1478350, P.O.C. 1478350, light activity, audible activity, crossing path, stalking specifically with regard to knowledge that they're being documented. So they are like cockroaches as you document. You'll see a whole bunch of dumpster trucks engaging in the presence with light and amplified audible activity. That's P.O.C. This is the demon-possessed entity. Paul Leon is leading with regard to gang stalking by the police department, gang stalking by the Ontario International Airport, gang stalking by the people of the state in concert with that government who are in the shoes of the government. These aren't private citizens while they're engaging in the shared elements with the state. That's understanding the malice of federal group stalking and monitoring. It is 9:12 a.m. That is domestic terrorism and psychological torture with regard to the city of Ontario engaging in that P.O.C. And it's also demonic. This is exposing the demon-possessed that are working in functions of government and using their functions of government, the municipality services, to engage in the demonic elements of monitoring somebody. It's very sick. I'm about to document all these license plates, gang stalking, while the government provides evidence against them. They're stalking in the path, having no constitutional right to do so. License T297TS, Utah. License 8RGF218, CROWBOY. 9BOF289, 9FNV594, stalking in the path with their foot on the brake, being documented in real time. License 6YGK380, and they have their foot on the brake while the demons are in the background stalking with amplified noise. That's crossing a path, light activity. That's demonic synchronicity. All right, that's P.O.C. License 67973E3, 8NMD242, 7FXL338, 7XYC492. That's domestic terrorism, why a bunch of demons follow you around, engaging in what is maintaining this simultaneous conduct regarding noise, regarding light, and regarding maintaining presence in your path. For example, being in Starbucks. Well, you don't have to use Starbucks, but that's the last venue where I was at. But you could be in church. You walk by them in the pew. The moment you walk by them in the pew, somebody engages in what is banging a hammer. That's crossing a path, creating light activity in the engineer light, because engineer light is in that fake church, and noise coexisting with what is walking by you. That's how demons are acting together. It is recognized under the fake sun, where you're looking at UPS making a delivery under the 3:30 p.m. fake sun, and you're looking at what is RGS landscaping under that 10 a.m. fake sun at that same exact address. Then you're understanding the demonic synchronicity of the highly diligent demon-possessed gang stalkers. 6YMX735, 5883B4 Nevada, 6HOJ821, 9JZY759, gang stalker with the City of Ontario, EB44C88, that's a paper plate on a gray Tesla. License 7UIN325, 7KIA321, 7EIB049, 8EBR534, 69498M2. Stalking in dumpster trucks is very depraved, very demented. These are the demon-possessed that are being exposed for what is mental illness, while they're also stalking as an entity, very malicious, and engaging in what is a failed effort to kidnap, especially when you're seeking to engage in mental illness, and that alleged mental illness, which does not actually exist, also doesn't even have anything to do with documenting the pattern of conduct. But license 5DNX602, the demon-possessed are actually mentally ill, however. And as I'm documenting the City of Ontario, since I've been documenting them, these demons are meeting at every corner that I turn. Those are the demons that are stalking. That is the signature of Polyon, who's going to be removed from office. 8MUK805. This is license 1416743, an African-American male. License 23653Z3. Again, that's a bald African-American male driving that in operation of his communication device, stalking in another alley as I walk into the parking lot with the entity that knows that it's being documented in real time. That's, again, what you're looking at. Ontario Police Department gang stalking at 8 p.m. as I walk outside of the Starbucks at 706 West Hope Boulevard, at the same time also that I am publishing the updated podcast regarding the kidnapping that the Ontario Police Department and this same City of Ontario, the people of the state, committed on May 29, 2025. Those aren't a series of coincidences. That's the signature of the demon-possessed, who are both gang stalking and engaging what is surveillance online and via communication devices. That's what the demons just did using the dumpster trucks of the City of Ontario. 23653Z3, license 9PHA170, 8UCP812, 7UIN325, in case I didn't document that one. It's currently, by the way, let me look at the time. It is currently 9:16 a.m. All right, that's stalking. Remember, stalking as identified through the maintenance of amplified audible activity, through the maintenance of impossible light activity. This is an entirely engineered environment, in other words, and that's where you're recognizing what is stranger stalking. And it's demonic. This is walking from Woodside Senior Apartments, where you'll see the fake sun over me before 9 o'clock. and you will see that same specific environment maintained as I'm documenting on podcast. And demons driving City of Ontario dumpster trucks are stalking in my path with noise, light, and presence. 27083N1 engaging in surveillance and driving off as I approach the sidewalk. These are strangers that are engaging in the elements of monitoring stalking. It's 9:17 a.m. This is P.O.C. 9S BW121 9RCZ445. That is gang stalking by the Ontario National Airport. And from that distance, the plane activity is amplified. And how you know that they're stalking is because of the pattern of conduct of the Ontario International Airport engaging what is hovering in the sky space in Ontario, no matter where I'm at in the city, far from Terminal 2, Terminal 4, but also it's recognizing the specific environment. This is where the fake sun is. This is all activity creation monitoring at Starbucks, in concert with those under the age of majority at 507 Euclid Avenue. This is not over Woodside Senior Apartments at 11:45 a.m. where I'm documenting the fake sun is remaining from sunrise 6:33 a.m. till sunset, where the Ontario Fire Department, Michael Gerken, going to be removed from position. The demon-possessed Ontario Fire Department gang stalking and doing so crossing path under the fake sun, knowing that I'm documenting it. Those are the psychopaths that are engaging in gang stalking in the City of Ontario. They're crossing paths with minor children. Understand how despicable, how disgusting this is. They're monitoring with kids right now. It's public corruption, contribution to the delinquency of minors. It's criminal conduct that the government has no warrant or probable cause to engage in. 6PTV 627 is gang stalking, and so is the Ontario Police Department at the Ontario Town Square. By the way, where the sun is not over the Woodside Senior Apartments, where the Ontario Police Department engages in gang stalking by helicopter, like you saw on May 16, 2025 at 10:54 a.m., and the sun never deviated from remaining over that apartment building. The entity maintained that fake sun over the apartment building on May 16, 2025, which is when Tracy Banks, who you are witnessing engaging in what is the very barbaric and asinine, it's very juvenile, to engage in what is nothing other than name calling because you're embarrassed about having sex with my peers, because you're a gang stalker, because you are a psychopath and a career pedophile. Those are not name callings. That's literally what she is. While she's gang stalking with the Ontario Police, that remains under the fake sun. That's where it's evidence of her targeting her own daughter and doing so with the corrupt police department, who are demon possessed, with whom she engaged in criminal summoning. These are the people of the state. This is called pacing under the fake sun. This is called criminal monitoring, federal stalking with communication devices and engineered light. They're not in sunlight. They're not under the sun. They're not in the natural environment. And the demons of the Ontario International Airport are engaging in what are doing donuts in the sky space. And they're monitoring, again, with the fire department, with the police department, and the demon possessed were doing this at 320 Euclid, 320 Holt, while I am at the TABOR professional building last night, and the Ontario Police were repeatedly pacing here on the podcast at 2, 3, and 4 o'clock in the morning. This is the fake sun where the entity is engaging in gang stalking with all manner. 6PTV 627 is gang stalking with the City of Ontario. That includes the Ontario Police, which is the grounds of federal prison, by the way. This is impunity. This is public corruption. And it's criminal surveillance that the government has no constitutional or ethical or legitimate interest in. No authority under the constitutions at all. And it is evident at what is 507 Euclid Avenue. And this is my shutter right here. This is not over Woodside Senior Apartments. It's not going to be outside of the Omnitrans window at what is 5 p.m. when you're going to see the fake sun like you saw on yesterday, June 3rd, 2025, where the fake sun is the evidence of surveillance amongst the demon-possessed. That includes the City of Ontario, every department, Michael GERKEN, Mike LORENZ, Alan D. WAPNER, who has the entity gang stalking me by planes at Woodside Senior Apartments, where it's still there at 4:57 p.m. And this is where the entity is keeping a fake sun today, because this is where I'm located. This is P.O.C. It's currently 11:49 a.m. Flying, hovering over in relevant position while the fake sun is here, stalking with amplified audible activity, with simultaneity to my documenting the maintenance of the fake sun. The Ontario International Airport is hovering in the sky space, making a U-turn, engaging what is crossing path, and it's a demon exhibiting that demon possession while they're engaging what is pacing and activity creation. This is public corruption exposed. Alan D. WAPNER is indeed a demon. He is a corrupt government actor. He is gang stalking, which is also exhibited on Omnitrans. a gang stalking means of public transportation. This is P.O.C. It's currently 11:49 a.m. I've already documented this venue, the fake sun present here at 507 Euclid Avenue after 4 p.m., after 5 p.m. over this same venue. I've already documented the fake sun here at 507 Euclid Avenue, this Starbucks, at 7 and 8 o'clock in the morning. I've been documenting the pattern of conduct since 2018. Starbucks is already on the record, and not just this Starbucks, what is in Pomona and Montclair, and what is the Ontario 706 West Hall Boulevard. The entity has the fake sun at 7 p.m. as I took a picture of it. This is the entity that's clearly gang stalking. This is P.O.C. with the people of the state. Everybody inside of the Starbucks is monitoring. P.O.C. That includes in the bathroom. That's called stalking in the path. And that's also a psychopath that keeps her back to you while they're monitoring. Remember, it's presence, light activity, which is occurring under the fake sun that's over the Starbucks. That is over this same Starbucks as I documented at 8 o'clock in the morning. It's already on the record, and as I review that, the people of the state communicating a threat, passive-aggressive, psychopathic behavior, monitoring you in the specific environment, not addressing you, not looking at you, not having to either while they maintain the elements of monitoring. This is P.O.C., the Ontario International Airport, pacing just like they were at 1, 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. The Ontario Police Department getting stalked by helicopter at Starbucks at 706 West Hope Boulevard at 8 p.m. upon my exit, publishing the podcast about this same department kidnapping pursuant to malicious assertions that they made up while monitoring, knowing very well that there was no physical altercation of my attacking Tracy Banks. The demon-possessed gang stalking at Woodside Senior Apartments, where the fake sun rises and sets over that apartment building where Unit 51 is located. This is the Ontario Police gang stalking. Doing so with knowledge of what I'm documenting, just like the Ontario Fire Department, just like the Ontario International Airport. It's the City of Ontario engaging in that P.O.C. with the people of the state. They are incriminating each other while this system is being exposed, and it's going to be prosecuted accordingly. It is currently 11:56 a.m. when you're looking at criminal summoning. Let me show you the fake sun again, because this is all light activity, relevant positioning, audible activity, while the police are maintaining visible presence under the fake sun. And that's when you're getting to diagnosing psychopaths who are gang stalking with a high level of malice. All right, the entity is engaging in what is gang stalking while I am remaining at Woodside Senior Apartments, where the fake sun rises and sets. Amplified train, light activity with the vehicle, light activity moving in the engineer light. None of this is sunlight, and that's not the sun. Ontario Police is a gang stalking, demon-infected agency committing a kidnapping on May 29, 2025, and then engaging in what is gang stalking by helicopter while I'm at Starbucks publishing the podcast, including that kidnapping information, those details. These are psychopaths that are bearing badges that are engaging in what is public corruption with the people of the state. This is criminal surveillance that's underway by a police department. And these are demons. These are psychopaths. This is P.O.C. Remember, moments after I'm capturing the video, and you'll see the juxtaposition of the fake sun over the same Starbucks at 8 o'clock in the morning. And as I pull that up, these demons pull up to park in the path. This is how demons engage in what is threatening without saying a word to you. You're going to prosecute for the ways in which the stalker is threatening. You analyze the behavior and you prosecute. It is currently, by the way, 11:57 a.m. This is the police department that engaged in kidnapping with Tracy Banks and keeping me under surveillance, and then acting with Tracy Banks, knowingly together making up information while they're keeping me under surveillance inside of that apartment at Woodside Senior Apartments, where the fake sun rises and sets over me. C. Torres knew very well that there was no punch. The demons are engaging in what is criminal monitoring. That was a kidnapping shared in engagement by Arrowhead Regional Medical Center, and that's why medical professionals go to federal prison. They lose their licensure, and they are also going to be prosecuted as sex offenders. Federal group stalking, monitoring, gang stalking is an egregious sex offense. This is P.O.C. It's called stalking in the path. That's the fake sun. This is P.O.C. That's pacing in and out of the building. All right, and that's communicating a threat while you're stalking in the path with the entity that's gang stalking. This is how strangers are stalking together. That's a Starbucks employee right there. Engaging in federal stalking together, doing so in the specific environment. It's 11:58 p.m. So I will juxtapose this with the video that I already have on YouTube, but this is the video that I'm pulling up. On August 24, 2021, same time of year applies. At 8:37 a.m., the fake sun is over this same exact
Starbucks, where the entity that's keeping me under surveillance online is aware of it. Immediately they pull up with a group of Ontario police vehicles communicating a threat, and that threat is also reasonably communicated because I'm documenting the gang stalking system. Those are the psychopaths engaging in a kidnapping on May 29, 2025. Gang stalking police officers go to federal prison. This is the fake sun that's remaining at the same exact Starbucks, 507 North Euclid Avenue. The entity is keeping the fake sun over the same venue right now. It's 11:59 a.m. The entity is keeping the fake sun while I'm coming from Colton, California yesterday to the city of Ontario, never remaining over Woodside Senior Apartments, the building of units 49 through 64. And it's also never going to be one that is going to be in Los Angeles at Alvarado Gardens. When the Ontario Police Department are gang stalking under it, you're recognizing the demon possessed, you're recognizing the malicious system of criminal surveillance, and it's demonic. All right, the LAPD are not under the same exclusive light source, the sun. The LAPD and the Ontario PD are under the fake sun gang stalking together with knowledge that they're being documented. This is P.O.C. This is the entity engaging in what is presence in the path, gang stalking, communicating a threat, and not free to do so. This is a specific environment. This is P.O.C. All right, the videos that you just listened to is the documentation of what is stalking under a fake sun, which is a supernatural occurrence. And that supernatural occurrence is not happening upon the ignorance of the people of the state, nor the state itself, especially when I'm documenting the pattern of engaging in what is the hallmark of following me around and harassing with helicopters wherever it is that I go in this supernatural environment. That's the gang stalking police department, as well as the people of the state who engage in a pattern of harassment and domestic terrorism as well. Stalking in the engineered light, that's criminal monitoring, and you're stalking while you're monitoring an American citizen and you're doing it on behalf of the government. This is what you're witnessing while the Ontario International Airport, while the Ontario Fire Department and the Ontario Police Department, who are not deviating from Starbucks' criminal prosecution. The entity is also aware of the fact that I document, the fact that I use the thumbnails identifying the people of the state, such as the Starbucks logo. Starbucks is being prosecuted while the government is engaging in waging a threat while I'm documenting the pattern of conduct. Starbucks is going to be prosecuted for that. The government is always incriminating the people. The people are acting on behalf of the state. The entity is doing so with knowledge that is being documented as well. So you are going to prosecute the stalker based on the tactics employed to psychologically harm and threaten while their stalking conduct is being documented and proven. It's an unprecedented system of stalking. It's gang stalking, it's demonic, and it's also domestic terrorism. While stalkers that are dressed up in costumes supposed to be mistaken for law enforcement, exercising authority under the law that they don't have under state and federal constitutions to engage in surveillance in the satanic means of gang stalking. Understand the entity is doing so with knowledge. Federal stalking is underway, so you're not only stalking, you're aware of the fact that you're being documented as stalking, and the demon-possessed are also hostile to that. The demon-possessed make up the city of Ontario, and the entity is doing so, and it is not helping Starbucks. 507 North Euclid Avenue are going to be prosecuted, and this is a body of evidence speaking to this particular franchise, but Starbucks in general, the people of the state that are gang stalking. The entity is doing so also relevant to the maintenance of the fake sun over Woodside Senior Apartments, while it's clearly over the entrance, over my head at the entrance of Starbucks at 507 North Euclid Avenue. Recall my documentation when I'm at the same Starbucks at 507 North Euclid Avenue on August 24, 2021 at 8:37 in the morning. That's where the fake sun is present. You're talking about a duration of time 4 hours of remaining over the same street, which is the pattern of conduct, not the natural environment, and it's not shared with remaining over apartments 49 through 64 from sunrise until sunset, 6:33 a.m. until 6:16 p.m., which is also supernatural. It's the pattern of conduct. And the demons possessed the corrupt police department that engaged in a kidnapping on May 29, 2025, keeping me under surveillance and very much apprised of the absence of any physical violence to Tracy Banks, which I went to the extent to document upon encountering her on June 3rd last night, the absence of any abrasions or bruises on her face, contrary to what this gang stalking police department alleged maliciously, while both keeping me under surveillance with the intent to, which you cannot render direct evidence of a fake sun and stalking in that supernatural environment that the targeted individual does not create control. That's not rendering evidence illegitimate, but that's the purpose, that's the whole rationale behind criminal defamation. The demons engage in that with an intent to obstruct justice. Nevertheless, yes, you're going to prosecute for criminal defamation. It is exposing the entity that is engaging in what is targeting American citizens, and doing so through what are making malicious assertions about mental illness that does not exist. And it is also not legally relevant when you're documenting gang stalking by the government. Any sort of mental illness that even a target individual would state that they have is not relevant to the tangible evidence that is unilaterally establishing that the police department is stalking you from place to place as a fake sun remains over you, which is a circumstance that no mentally ill or perfectly healthy targeted individual is controlling or manufacturing or creating. The entity is under all circumstances losing in this endeavor, but this loss is providence because it's exposing how the system of surveillance operates in the United States, and it's also relevant to what is the penalties that I have stated at the outset. Gang stalking police officers go to federal prison and they're permanently done with law enforcement. Kidnapping police officers, gang stalking, you go to federal prison and mental asylums. The entity engages in the pattern of conduct, and as they demonstrate mental illness, you want to engage in pacing on video so that the federal court can look at your mental illness exhibited, you're going to a mental asylum. It's as simple as that. The entity is already psychopathic, stalking under a fake sun as a whole society, and doing so in a malicious manner, keeping your back to someone that you're stalking. Yes, you are stalking. That's why Impossible Light is flying in the air. Very heavily documented at Starbucks, by the way. Multiple Starbucks. The Starbucks in Pomona, the Starbucks in Montclair, the Starbucks in Ontario at 706 West Hope Boulevard. This particular Starbucks at 507 North Euclid Avenue, where I'm documenting the fake sun not only at 8:37 in the morning, but I am documenting it. Let me pull it up on in my documentation right now. At 4:09 p.m. at the same time of year, that is August 25th, 2021, for the Ontario Police Department or any police department, any government, for any actor, for the entity itself, but you're going to prosecute and disband the gang stalking police in the city of Ontario, but for the entity to engage in what is both having knowledge that it's being documented as a stalker, you're a demon, you're a freak weirdo, while you are stalking an American citizen that you have no legitimate interest in doing so. I mean, you also have no warrant or probable cause to stalk. It's not surveillance, it's not an investigation, it's stalking. And there are demons that are stalking. And you are also doing so while you know that it's been documented. And in that supernatural environment, the fake sun is over this same Starbucks, 507 North Euclid Avenue, on August 25th, 2021, which is relevant the same time of year. We are in June. This is relevant at 4:09 p.m. This is where the demon-possessed engage in what is manifesting as the demons that they are. Impossible Light activity becomes more prevalent. Amplified audible activity, like the demons of the Ontario International Airport engaged in. Not flying in a donut in a relevant position, pacing once in a commercial airline plane. But I guess the Ontario International Airport is engaging in what is an airline show with the commercial airlines while they're hovering in the sky space and doing donuts while the fake sun is over me. And it's not over Woodside Senior Apartments, and neither is it at 4:09 p.m. on August 25th, 2021. This is where the Ontario Police decide to stalk in the path by parking in relevant position to me, and you are aware of the fact that they're focused on me and stalking me and threatening me because the fake sun is over me inside of this building where I remain, and it's also not the natural environment because it's here at 8:37 in the morning, and it's also here at 4:09 p.m. as I documented in 2021. That's relevant to duration of time analysis, where the sun does not sit over one building from 8 to 4 p.m. at any time of year, and it's also relevant to what is juxtaposing the crime scenes. The entity's keeping the fake sun from sunrise until sunset over Woodside Senior Apartments at 408 West G Street. That's not going to be seen over the building of 507 North Euclid Avenue, where the Ontario Police are stalking, and they're stalking with the intent to communicate a threat after having engaged in yet another kidnapping. Dotla of the Arrowhead Regional Medical Center, David Siegler of the Arrowhead Regional Medical Center, engaging in and participating in not only a harassment, but gang stalking via the practice of medicine in concert with this corrupt system, with the demons of the Ontario Police. Surveillance is underway at the Arrowhead Regional Medical Center. The entity had the fake sun through the window of the Omnitrans coming from Colton, California at 5 p.m. At Juniper and Juniper and San Bernardino Avenue. And there is no sun that's going to be over 507 North Euclid Avenue and then jump to be, it's simultaneously, if it's not leaving, it's both here, and it's also seen through the bus window that's going back toward Ontario. It's as it's approaching, remaining for the entirety of the bus route back to the city of Ontario. One also at the same time I'm documenting on an ongoing basis both rising at 6:33 a.m. and never leaving from being over the top of my head and from being over the apartment building, where demons 33 through 64 are inside of the apartments maintaining criminal surveillance with the Ontario Police Department. And neither are the LAPD engaging in what is any shared presence in the natural environment, as you're recognizing the pattern of conduct of clearly identified stalking by the government that is also engaging in what is communicating a threat while they are exposed as stalkers who are demons and violent sex offenders and kidnappers seeking to obstruct justice by, under that fake sun, clearly stalking, standing in position, engaging in what is standing around in a circle, engaging in light activity and relevant positioning to be clearly identified and seen, while they also know that they're being documented, so that's relevant what they're doing, but also to be clearly seen and identified to communicate a threat. All right. The entity engages in what is gang stalking unbeknownst to the target individual. The entity is engaging in gang stalking while monitoring the documentation. So that is a clear communication of a threat. It's also a threat, whether you know it or not, because the government has no right under the law, authority under the law to gang stalk. This is speaking to Mike Lorenz's mental illness. This is why you have the Ontario Police gang stalking when I'm walking out of Starbucks at 706 West Hope Boulevard, like I documented at 8 p.m. yesterday, June 3rd, 2025. Okay, so this is the entity that's engaging in kidnapping. This is the entity that creates what are manufactured allegations and relies on the people of the state to call them. And remember, that's an illusion. You're not telling the Ontario Police Department anything that they don't know. This is why Jonathan Burnett can pull out his cell phone at West Valley after he committed a kidnapping and play back the exchange inside of Tracy Banks' apartment like he did on May 4th, 2019. That's the department that's gang stalking at the Chevron across the street, which I will document by address. The entity is engaging in what is surveillance as a corrupt law enforcement agency, and the impunity is what you're paying attention to. The entity this is the same entity that engaged in theft of my vehicle in 2019 and then stalking me by helicopter from the Ontario Ovid Family Community Library back to 717 North Vine Avenue after having stolen my vehicle, and then the same corrupt courts engaging in what is denial of legal relief that I'm entitled to while they are deviating from and not abiding by the policies and the rules that govern the court, the rules of court and procedure, deviating, not just denying legal relief, but deviating from the rules that would require them to give me relief that I was entitled to after stealing my car pursuant to criminal surveillance, because they were seeking to obstruct justice after I brought my civil suit, Erica Lorraine Spencer v. the people of the state of California. That is brought in September of 2019. This is what the Ontario Police Department has been engaged in for years, and the entity is engaging in what is surveillance by stalking in the path. Those are passive-aggressive psychopaths who are unfit to be in law enforcement. It's representative of the entire department. That is on video. The demons inside of Tracy Banks' apartment are subject to federal prison. Those are psychopaths. It creating audible activity inside of that apartment, where you've also witnessed engineered light flying in the air, just like you've seen in Starbucks, every single Starbucks that I've been in and documented. That's the apartment that they're standing in, where they made up allegations together and engaged in what is a kidnapping as an entity that is gang stalking together. And while they're aware of the fake sun that's over me at Starbucks, the demons engage in what is positioning and alignment to me to be visible in front of the Starbucks where the fake sun remains over me to communicate a threat. This is being documented in order to prosecute. This is what the entity is doing on an ongoing basis, and the people of the state are being documented as well. It's 12:13 p.m. It's June 4th, 2025. This video is going to be uploaded to the Google Drive and onto YouTube, where you can see the related content, meaning you could see what's over my head at 11 right now, the entity gang stalking with the Ontario Fire Department, the Ontario International Airport, and then the huddle that the demons of the Ontario Police Department engage in after I pull up on YouTube the fake sun present over me in August of 2021 at 8 o'clock in the morning. They are aware of that, and these hostile demons, these are demons that engage in, they're actually angry, and they engage in communicating that anger, much like they do with amplified audible activity, much like they do with impossible light activity, by getting in the path, representing a corrupt law enforcement agency, and standing there and chit-chatting, which is light activity, relevant positioning, and audible activity is ongoing. Okay, it's currently 12:13 p.m. The people of the state at Starbucks are gang stalking with the Ontario Police Department. Again, a basis of federal prison. It is June 4th. This is P.O.C. All right, you will see the City of Ontario gang stalking under the fake sun that remains over the same Starbucks, where it's still here again in August of 2024 at 4 p.m. After 4 p.m. I'm documenting. This is getting to the maintenance of indeed a fake sun, where surveillance is underway at your neighborhood Starbucks. In case you did not know, Starbucks is monitoring American citizens and also engaged in what is the unabated program of psychological torture. What you will see in the images uploaded to the Google Drive, where the City of Ontario is gang stalking inside of the Starbucks. This is an overweight male in operation
operation of a communication device. While engineered light is repeatedly moving across the pleather seats, you'll see me pointing my finger to where that light is routinely appearing, and you'll see a demon and a dumpster truck. It says arrow, phone number 336-2255 with flashers on in perfect alignment. That's called stalking in the path with light activity. It's relevant to what is engineered light that's covering everything. It's not sunlight, neither is that the sun that's over my head in its zenith at what is it's currently 1:19 p.m. I'm documenting this in images at approximately 1:18 p.m. and you will see the demons of the Ontario International Airport flying right next to that fake sun that's over my head as they fly over the intersection where I'm located at 507 North Euclid Avenue, flying right by me while I'm documenting the fake sun. This is the entity that's engaging in that P.O.C. together. And the City of Ontario is gang stalking through its demon-possessed employees who are inside of the venue engaging in surveillance. Just an operation of a cell phone engaging in the pattern of conduct, presence with the engineered light, presence under the fake sun, presence engaging in what is ongoing activity. That's what's ongoing in that engineered environment. And it's also relevant while I'm documenting, publishing the evidence online. So while I'm publishing the kidnapping that this same exact entity engaged in on May 29, 2025 at 7:35 p.m. This video, while I am including the details in order to publish it right now, the demons that are monitoring on the venue of the internet, including the City of Ontario via this overweight male that is seated in operation of a communication device where the engineer light is repeatedly fanning across, which is not the product of the demons who are patrolling on Euclid Avenue while the fake sun remains over me at this Starbucks. That's the pattern of conduct of the people of the state that are stalking by admission with impossible light activity. This is what the demons are doing at Woodside Senior Apartments when they're driving in the parking lot, when they are walking by on the sidewalk and impossible light activity is appearing inside of Tracy Banks' apartment. This is the people of the state that are gang stalking. So you will see the City of Ontario, you'll see the logo on this overweight male's t-shirt. He is gang stalking, engaging in what is federal group stalking and monitoring. In other words, using a communication device, which is Title 18, relevant to surveillance in that specific environment, while the City of Ontario is engaging in terrorism, domestic terrorism, using commercial planes to stalk in the specific environment with knowledge that it's being documented. Remember, the entity is gang stalking with the Ontario Police in that video captured at 11:54 a.m. It is over an hour later. The fake sun is over the same building, and the documentation is showing in August of 2021, which is same time of year analysis. So this is documentation showing also what is impossible to be the case, that the sun is, contrary to what I documented, remaining over the top of my head when I'm in Los Angeles, where LAPD is proven to be stalking, gang stalking in particular, demons that are targeting in that specific environment where the sun is not over both the Euclid Avenue, Starbucks at 507 North Euclid Avenue, and also over me at Alvarado Gardens while I'm in my office at 1810 North Alvarado Street in Los Angeles, 90026, for the duration of the day, the duration of my work day, where I'm documenting both the sunrise and the sunset. And it's also not over Woodside Senior Apartments, as I'm documenting both the sunrise and the sunset at that address. It is certainly nowhere in a position to be in the window of the Omnitrans like I documented yesterday, coming from the city of Colton, where the point of beginning of this light source appearing is through the window of the Omnitrans when I am at 9720 Juniper Avenue in Fontana, California, on Omnitrans headed back toward Ontario, which means that the sun is not over the facilitating venue of Woodside Senior Apartments, such that I could see it through the window of Omnitrans, and it's creating sunlight on the interior of that bus, and that it is remaining visible through the windows of that bus, like I documented on video, as we then arrive in Ontario at Holt Boulevard. That's the P.O.C. of stalking under the fake sun. The demons are stalking with light activity under the fake sun. The demons are stalking with amplified audible activity under the fake sun. The demons are stalking while they're engaging in what is demonic activity in front of your face. They're pacing. All right, they're engaging in what is monitoring together, and it is very demonic and demented, and it's also coexisting with impossible light activity. So this is what I documented. Let me give you the timestamps. The employees at Starbucks are engaging in psychological torture and gang stalking with impunity in concert with the government. All right, at 507 North Euclid Avenue, where the fake sun is over the same exact building that it is in August of 2021, which is same time of year, at 8:37 in the morning. And you can see that documentation both on my website at thisisthepoc.wordpress.com, and you can also see it on YouTube, because the documentation is complete for 2021 it is published with regard to August when I'm documenting the fake sun. I am completing 2021. I am currently at the month of November, so I am completing that. But you can see the you can see from January up until
the end of October, November for 2021, and Starbucks is documented at this specific venue where the fake sun is present in the morning, and you're seeing the entity that is engaging in public corruption while it's gang stalking, engaging in criminal surveillance, in other words, and it's entirely demonic. The impossible light activity is demonic. The fake sun sitting over me, moving as I move, is demonic. The fake sun sitting idle over one venue as I document that in a series of videos as you look at it from the beginning to the end of the day, that's demonic. The amplified audible activity while demons are flying commercial planes coming from the Ontario International Airport to then engage in what is flying at a lower elevation to rise in elevation where I'm at, where the fake sun is, that's demonic. That's the P.O.C. It's 1:24 p.m. Let me give some timestamps right now. All right, I am capturing, I am surrounded by impossible light activity that I am taking pictures of where it's appearing on the leather seat inside of the Starbucks, and I've already established that directed light is a fact. So this is speaking to the same P.O.C. that's happening inside of the Starbucks, and it is on the inside of the building. Nobody driving on Euclid Avenue, nobody parking on the sidewalk outside, nobody across the street with their hazard lights on, nobody parking at Chevron, filling up their gas tank, nobody driving a fire truck, nobody driving an Ontario Police Department, nobody flying an Ontario International Airplane. Is going to cause sunlight to ricochet across this leather seat. That is the pattern of conduct, however, and I've been documenting stalking with impossible light for years. That's exactly what's happening when I am capturing screenshots about what I'm publishing on the venue of the internet as that is occurring. This is the demons that are communicating a threat while they're hostile to what is being published. This is what is inspiring the kidnapping that this entity engaged in on May 29, 2025, hostility to what is being published. The entity is engaging in what is stalked with impossible light inside of the Starbucks at 507 North Euclid Avenue at 12:58 p.m. I am in the process of uploading right now the videos for June 3rd. June 3rd is currently published right now as of 1:25 p.m. So you can go into the Google Drive and you can see those videos. While I'm publishing these videos, impossible light activity is moving across the leather seats, which is terrorism. It's psychological torture. It's frightening, in other words, to put it in layman's terms. This is what an entity is doing while they're stalking you. And this is also psychopathic while strangers keep their back to you and they're targeting you in such manners. Those are demons that do that. And that's what the Ontario Police Department is doing when you see them on video at 11:54 a.m. I'm at the same cafe. That's the same pattern of conduct that they're engaging in while they wear badges. Those demons hide behind badges and uniforms so that you cannot tell on the surface that they're demons and that they're psychopaths, and they engage in what is playing cops and robbers with the criminals who are engaging in surveillance with them, the people of the state. The entity is engaging what is stalking with impossible light again at what is 1:07 p.m., moving across the same seat where the entity is maintaining presence in the path, stalking inside a Starbucks. Stalking is identified by that specific environment that defies nature, science, logic, common sense. And it is also occurring at what is 1:15 p.m. Impossible light activity again, and this is while I'm in the midst of publishing both the videos on YouTube and also on to my Google Drive, where they are viewable to all of the world. On my website at thisisthepoc.wordpress.com, and also the P.O.C. YouTube channel, which is at This Is The P.O.C. And I also want to state that I am including the details pertaining to the kidnapping that this entity that is gang stalking engaged in on May 29, 2025. So this is relevant to, again, hostility because I'm publishing it online. So right now at 1:27 p.m., the overweight male that you see stalking in the path sitting on the bench is engaging in the psychopathic pattern of conduct. Also, these sex offenders monitoring my vagina. All right, these are the sex offenders that are stalking you at all places, including while you're physically indisposed, engaging in private activity, and they're psychopaths that keep their back to you, whose name you don't know and you don't have to know, while they're stalking you under the fake sun and with impossible light activity. Impossible light moving across this wall inside of the Starbucks in real time while I'm documenting it. These are the demons that are engaging in domestic terrorism in California, and I'm exposing what the U.S. government is doing in this country. They're violent sex offenders, keeping the genitalia of American citizens under surveillance as well. That's what you need to know about this overweight male and operation of his communication device. That's what you need to know about the employees working at Starbucks at 507 North Euclid Avenue. That's what you need to know about the people of the state pacing inside of the Starbucks where the fake sun is planted over it, and as I move, that fake sun moves. I've already shown this with regard to Starbucks, and I've already shown this with regard to the overall universal pattern of conduct. And it's also not over Woodside Senior Apartments, which is located at 408 West G Street, where I'm documenting the fake sun reflecting off of vehicles in that parking lot, and somehow that's creating my shadow behind me inside of Tracy Banks's apartment, magnified in size upright. This is where these demons are in Starbucks, engaging in the clearly outlined and delineated P.O.C. They're sex offenders. Also, always be mindful, monitoring my genitalia without my consent. It is currently 1:28 p.m. where that impossible light is ongoing. This is P.O.C. Also, just to document the gang stalker engaging in criminal surveillance via commercial airline planes while the fake sun is over me, indicating what is ongoing targeting by the state. That is Delta Airlines. That is a crossing path hovering over the intersection where I'm located as the fake sun is over me. That's amplified audible activity. That is crossing path. And the light activity is present and ongoing, not only inside of the Starbucks while I'm surrounded by impossible light, but the demons are all pacing in engineer light. This is ongoing monitoring that Delta Airlines is specifically participating in that image that you see captured at what is, you will see Delta Airlines engaging on the federal offensive crossing path. That is at 1:17 p.m. The criminal elements of monitoring. This is in concert with the City of Ontario that is gang stalking by this overweight personnel inside of the venue adjacent to me, my property. You could see, and on that same seat where he's sitting is where impossible light is moving all across that wall that you can see behind him and all across the seat. Where he is seated, and that's a psychopath that's targeting you and is doing so in a manner that's supposed to make it appear as though they're not. They're all stalking together. So that's ongoing in this specific environment, and it's very sick how the demon possessed are targeting, and it includes Delta Airlines that is maintaining criminal surveillance with the City of Ontario. Delta Airlines is a third party. Delta Airlines is exposed to a federal prosecution like every other airline that provides a wealth of evidence against the state and the people of the state, the civilian population. Delta Airlines, the company, the demons in the cockpit flying that plane, the demons that are in position of leadership at the Ontario International Airport, the demons that are gang stalking inside of the Starbucks with the airport, the demons that are gang stalking while they're patrolling all around in the specific environment. You're talking about what is a comprehensive prosecution, and none of that is ambiguous or a mystery with regard. I'm showing how you document and fully capable of prosecuting as well. Delta Airlines is intentionally and knowingly gang stalking and engaging in psychological torture, the sex offensive gang stalking under that fake sun, while it's also relevant that the entity is engaging in federal stalking, and that is the intentional engagement and what is gang stalking me by a commercial airline plane. It is belonging to Delta Airlines at the moment that I'm capturing the fake sun, and relevant to what I'm subject to inside of the Starbucks is impossible light activity. It's currently 1:32 p.m. Delta Airlines is a documented third party for years. This is P.O.C. All right, it is currently 1:55 p.m. So the entity is engaging in the same pattern of conduct with knowledge that it's being documented, and engages in the tactic of gang stalking and monitoring the vagina, for example, engaging in the sex offense with the people of the state that are under the age of majority. This is criminal conduct and the contribution to the delinquency of minors that Starbucks is very heavily documented engaging in as well. And it's also relevant that I pointed out the fake sun remaining over this venue at 4:09 p.m. where they are given this idea, oh, let's send in the kids and terrorize with the possible light, and then perhaps she'll document so we can have her excluded again. This is the pattern that the demon possessed engage in. You have minors engaged in federal stalking. You have minors engaged in gang stalking, which is a violent sex offense. They're monitoring the genitalia of American citizens while they're pacing all around in the circus-like environment. Very chaotic, psychologically harmful, to also use children to engage in domestic terrorism and sexual violence, and this is exactly what Starbucks is intentionally engaging in. Starbucks represents the people of the state, and you need to understand that the Mayor Paul Leon gang stalks with children, the police department gang stalks with children, the fire department gang stalks with children. You saw that on video today under the fake sun at 11:45. It's 1:56. The fake sun is still over this Starbucks where minors are in here engaging in that pattern of conduct together with knowledge, and they deliberately choose to be in the path and engage in the P.O.C. The entity is obsessively monitoring my documentation, and all they're doing is vacillating specific identity. It's the same entity, and the tactic now is sending in a bunch of teenagers to engage in the P.O.C. The demons are pacing on Euclid Avenue, and impossible light activity is flying in here while people under the age of 18 are engaging in what is a sex offense. That's the pattern of conduct, by the way. It's June 4th, 2025. This is relevant to the prosecution of the entity. And it's also speaking to why teenagers are not going to be removed from or excluded from the ability to be prosecuted as terrorists and sex offenders when the government is gang stalking with them. All right, they're engaging in the malicious pattern of conduct of presence, activity creation, and also using their presence under the age of majority and under the guise of what is supposed to be the assumption of ignorance. Innocence? No, absolutely not. They're demons under the age of majority, in case you were not aware of that. And they're engaging in sexual violence, which is sanctioned by the government as well. It's sponsored by the state and their parents. They're gang stalking parents. It is the P.O.C. It's currently 1:57 p.m. at 507 North Euclid Avenue, where the fake sun remains. And it is not over Woodside Senior Apartments, while these underage minions are stalking amongst impossible light. While I'm publishing the information about Delta Airlines gang stalking, I'm publishing that onto the Google Drive, taking screenshots of it. I am reviewing the flight options for Delta Airlines, where they are hovering over the intersection where the fake sun is over me, just with regard to just scrutinizing the entity's pattern of conduct, because the entity is engaging in this P.O.C. In that specific environment and doing so under the fake sun, regardless of the path that you're taking, but also is relevant the path that the demons are doing with commercial planes. They are lowering down in elevation and then rising up in elevation where I'm at while that fake sun is over me. And last night they were doing that 1, 2, 3, 4 in the morning, while the engineered light that you saw had 4 perpendicular shadows. That's also the impossible light activity, where the Ontario International Airport, that does include every airline, including Delta Airlines, is engaging in domestic terrorism. These are the psychopaths that are flying planes in the mountains, flying them into bodies of water, flying them into other aircrafts, and murdering people. Those aren't accidents, those are acts of terrorism. And the demons that are engaged in gang stalking are the demon-possessed that commit acts of terrorism. And this is documentation of that targeting system. And they like to engage in it with minor children, all right, who are, again, being trained to be psychopaths who practice sexual violence as a way of life as well. It's 1:59 p.m. This is all state action while the entity is targeting with those under the age of majority. P.O.C. All right, there is literally a body of evidence that is attributed directly to Starbucks. Starbucks is a very fully established and proven domestic terrorist and violent sex offender because it is gang stalking. And it is currently gang stalking with minors, contributing to the delinquency of minors, and engaging in psychological torture with minors, engaging in what is harassment and domestic terrorism with minors, engaging in federal stalking with minors, and engaging in what is the criminal pattern of conduct with the intent to obstruct justice with minors. Remember, the entity is deliberately choosing who sits by me, who walks by. These demons are very diligently engaged in a pattern of conduct. It is replete with the fake sun and impossible light inside of the Starbucks. And I want to make sure that I document, as of 2:27 p.m., the entity maintaining ongoing impossible light activity while the demons are engaging in that P.O.C. This is Starbucks, the people of the state. Starbucks is documented engaging in this P.O.C., which is very specific, unique, and complete at multiple franchises, which is speaking also to the fact that Starbucks is engaging in the corrupt system of federal group stalking and monitoring as its corrupt business practices are exposed. And they're profiting off of domestic terrorism and, as I'm documenting, contributing to the delinquency of minors. Starbucks is also engaged in federal stalking. But it's 2:27 p.m. and in real time, as I refer to that, impossible light activity flying all about inside of the venue. And I will refer to you to documentation where you have already seen that before, because that's exactly what's happening in real time. It is currently 2:27 p.m. Corporate for Starbucks is located at 2401 Utah Avenue, South Seattle, Washington, 98134, and that's exactly what I'm documenting in the YouTube video referring to this kidnapping that this same entity engaged in. Remember, you're not talking about specific actors that are engaging in the pattern of conduct. It's an entity. They're maintaining presence together. They're maintaining amplified audible activity together. They do so while using minors to engage in that criminal pattern of conduct. And this is what the entity is doing right now with both employees, the patrons, and those who are also under the age of majority, and doing so while they're stalking. Their domestic terrorism, psychological torture tactics are being documented in real time. And this is all government action. But I want to be clear, Starbucks is exposed to a federal prosecution, just like Avaneth Capital Management. Kidnapping and engaging in unlawful detention does not relieve Daryl J. Carter. It doesn't relieve Linda Reyes. It doesn't relieve the demons in units 33 through 64. It doesn't relieve what is
the entity gang stalking at Arrowhead Regional Medical Center. This is the same pattern of conduct that was underway at the hospital while you're kidnapping and seeking to criminally defame. This is the pattern of conduct that's underway at Woodside Senior Apartments when you're gang stalking at a place of residence where everybody in that specific environment is exposed to federal prison. This is the pattern of conduct that the government is engaging in while arriving like psychopaths, very malicious ones, engaging in criminal summoning like they're not conspiring against the target individual. That's exactly what they're doing when you're engaging in surveillance and then engaging in what is criminal summoning, that iteration of the P.O.C. Again, Starbucks' corporate headquarters. It is documented on YouTube with regard to the video that I'm publishing onto the Google Drive as well, but specifically the entity. Remember, these are psychopaths, these are demons, very hostile, especially as I call them what they are, the demon-possessed, sex offenders, obsessed with my vagina, engaging in what is stalking, psychopathic stalking, and that which they do with those who are under the age of 18, and you already have this mentally disturbing behavioral pattern underway. They are engaging in this with Starbucks, and while I am publishing specifically the kidnapping that immediately precipitates from a series of admissions in this video and the podcast that is immediately preceding the video that's documented at 7:35 p.m. on May 29th, you will hear Tracy Banks admitting that no physical altercation occurred, precipitating the arrest pursuant to lies, malicious lies. She entered the apartment and admitted that she wanted to have me arrested, and doing so by any means necessary. It resulted in what is malicious assertions regarding physical violence that never occurred, and you hear that clearly, her admitting that, and also the police department that they're both incapable of keeping straight their own lies. When they make an admission regarding information and it's curious, where did you get that information from? They can't explain it. They don't want to answer a clear question regarding why are you here? Who called you? What entitles you to be here in my presence communicating this threat? The entity is not capable of answering these questions in this video, and this is combined with the podcast as you would hear immediately before this video. And again, I'm going to do what is an insight to the kidnapping and all the details pursuant to this kidnapping, and honing in on that exchange. And Tracy Banks' admission that she entered the apartment immediately already having called the police, where there was no physical violence, and she stated outright things about medication that doesn't exist. She stated outright, and then she lied about it in the presence of that officer who referenced medication. And of course I'm going to ask, pray tell, where did you get this information from? Because I don't take medication and I never have. And then Tracy Banks is denying it, but she's the one that summoned the police by admission of the officer, because if you'll recall in that podcast, Tracy Banks refuses to answer any questions about why did you call the police, who called the police, and she doesn't want to give any information, even though she is later stating, and by later I mean moments later after this video, stating that she was punched in the face by me, that she was attacked by me, and that also her and the Ontario police claim that she had scars on her face. This is the entity that's stalking with a possible light inside of the Starbucks as I'm publishing this video and adding the details. This is the pattern of conduct of the demon-possessed, who are very highly psychopathic and engaging in what is harassment tactics, psychological torture tactics, while you document and expose their corruption, their lawlessness, their sexual violence, their criminal activity, their surveillance, all right? This is what I'm documenting, as you recall, when I'm subject to the same surveillance inside of the apartment at Woodside Senior Apartments. These minor children, Starbucks, the franchise, the employees, and the patrons, the people of the state, the demons that are patrolling on Euclid Avenue, are doing so under the fake sun that's over this building. At 2:32 p.m., the sun is not going to be idle over this apartment, not this apartment, but over this Starbucks at 507 North Euclid Avenue, any address from 11:45 until what is now 2:32 p.m. That's the pattern of conduct. The sun, the natural environment, is not going to be over this venue at 11:45 at all when I'm documenting it at 8:37 in the morning, like I documented at the same time of year in August of 2021. The sun is not going to be at this same venue like I documented in August of 2021 at 4:09 p.m. Also, you know that sunlight does not appear at a distance away from your vehicle when you're driving under the sun, and it also, you're breaking it apart because that's not even the sun that's sitting idle over 507 North Euclid Avenue. Starbucks corporate, who was subject to what is a prosecution. Starbucks Center, 2401 Utah Avenue South, Seattle, Washington, 98134. Starbucks is documented as a commercial means of surveillance in the United States. This is P.O.C. 8K DW 559, the entity gang stalking with impossible light activity, which is what the Ontario Fire Department is engaging in at 11 45 a.m., the Ontario Police Department at 11:54 a.m., aware of the fact that I'm documenting gang stalking under the fake sun that's not over Woodside Senior Apartments, where they're gang stalking me at that Woodside Senior Apartments, where Delta Airlines is gang stalking by hovering over the intersection and is right now. Ocean Sands is the store manager. Ocean, O-C-E-A-N, Sands is gang stalking at 507 North Euclid Avenue. And she is engaging in that pattern of conduct with the City of Ontario and with impunity, and have engaged in what is criminal summoning at this venue as well. That's the basis of federal prison. All right, just want to document that, but this is ongoing terrorism and psychological torture, and these minor children are directly what are engaging in what activity creation to monitor my vagina when I'm in the private space engaging in private activity. The entity is not sparing anyone from engaging in what is that sex offensive monitoring in bathrooms amongst impossible light under the fake sun, with a government that's pacing around like psychopaths, maniacs, flying in donuts and commercial planes hovering over the street where I'm at, where the fake sun is over me, because that's exactly what the Ontario International Airport is doing on these videos that you see this morning. And the fake sun, I just captured it right now. It's 2:36 p.m. and you'll see it over the same roof of the building where the Ontario Police hours earlier are stalking, and that's how you're understanding and recognizing clear stalking. It's also clear stalking when the Ontario Police are engaging in what is targeting with a helicopter identified by the fake sun over Woodside Senior Apartments. The two are not happening at the same time, okay? And the sun is never sitting over one building from sunrise until sunset. The sun is never going to be anywhere over Starbucks or Woodside Senior Apartments or out the window of Omnitrans when it's rising and setting in Los Angeles at Alvarado Gardens, where LAPD exhibiting severe mental instability, obsession, psychopathic appetite with regard to some defeated effort. You're not getting any sort of retaliation when your criminal conduct is being documented in order for it to be exposed so that you can be diagnosed and prosecuted. But this is the maniacal psychopath, the rationale of the demons. They are indeed demons who are stalking in the demonic environment and also obsessed with, again, engaging in that P.O.C. as I document and expose them. This is relevant again to the May 29th kidnapping at 7:35 p.m. It is being published right now as I speak on the venue of the internet. You will pay attention to the podcast documentation that is immediately preceding this video, because you're going to hear the conversation, I immediately transition from podcast into video, because you have to see these demons' faces when they're going back and forth about, well, I didn't say that. Well, where did you get that from? Well, I didn't say that. And clearly you're not understanding, while the demons who are not able to get their lies straight like to try to project confusion back onto me, but you're not distracted by that either, in the same way that you're not distracted by being called names that don't even apply to you, because you're documenting them thoroughly, engaging in what is a secret system of criminal surveillance, and the entity is engaging in what is failing very much with regard to trying to maintain a consistent narrative as to why the Ontario Police Department are at Tracy Banks' apartment. She already admitted before the Ontario Police, quote unquote, arrived. Remember, they're always gang stalking. They're always present. So they were already monitoring. Then the psychopaths just physically entered the apartment. That's very sick and stalkerish. That's what the Ontario Police Department engage in. They're playing cops and robbers with the people of the state. Nonetheless, Tracy Banks already admitted in the podcast that she wanted, that I was going to the hospital, everything that she was going to seek to achieve by any means necessary, and the means necessary she found, and the Ontario Police agreed to make allegations that were false, and that is in the admission that you'll hear in the podcast and in the video, where they're not able to even keep their purposes consistent. There was no violence before Tracy Banks admitted that she wants me taken, and speaking about things that don't exist, like physical violence and medication. Physical violence occurs after the Ontario Police leave, and she wasn't successful in having me removed immediately following. Then she's alleging physical violence against herself, which was a lie, and it's relevant to what she admitted at the outset. Before the argument ensued, when I'm asking her questions very calmly, what is it that you're talking about? Okay, well, why did you call who called the police? I'm not answering any questions. She's not answering any questions about who called the police. If you called the police and I hit you, or I did something to you, Tracy Banks is not speaking on that. She already had her mind up with regard to wanting me to go to for no reason. And documentation is not a reason. And also, documentation is not demonstrating mental illness. And also, this documentation is not a threat to her safety at all. She's actually a threat to me while she is gang stalking me. And I remain subject to that threat while I'm documenting and enforcing my rights. And by the way, there's no escaping it when you're witnessing the entity gang stalking me when I'm outside. There is no escaping it. And you're talking about necessarily resisting it and
responding to it with exposure in order to prosecute it. So Tracy Banks is actually the entity that's threatening me, and it also doing so while making up information, just walking into the apartment and deciding, I'm going to have you arrested and taken to the hospital. I'm going to state that you have medication. I'm going to state that you're physically attacking me, whatever it is that that's exactly what she's stating, and that's exactly what her conduct is, demonstrating the desire to do so by any means necessary. And that's directly relevant to what DOTLA, the Arrowhead Regional Medical Center, those that also lack any evidence supporting not only the allegations, but the maintenance of the hold in that hospital. Also notable that they were gang stalking. So that's speaking to specific knowledge about me and about my state, about my documentation of the pattern of conduct, while the pattern of conduct is underway at Arrowhead Regional Medical Center. It's not just false, it's not just a hold where you're engaging in a genuine inquiry. The entity is engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring at that hospital, which I documented, okay? This is P.O.C, it's currently 2:41 p.m. Again, Starbucks is engaging in a criminal act of obstruction of justice, terrorizing with impossible light, doing so with minor children, very sick what the entity is doing, public corruption, and doing so while literally training minor children to be psychopathic, all right? They're targeting while they're sitting around feeling on each other, kissing each other's faces and talking, looking at their cell phones, and they're gang stalking, laughing, giving high fives, impossible light, flying all over their monitoring. And these are little demons in training. It's very unfortunate. This is the government that's incentivizing and teaching domestic terrorism in this country. It's the way of life. This is how I'm documenting gang stalking families for years. This is exactly what is underway, and it's also corrupt business practices of Starbucks. Again, Starbucks is a corporate office with regard to a federal prosecution on an unprecedented basis for federal group stalking and monitoring, domestic terrorism, gang stalking me at Starbucks, which I have a right to be free from, and Starbucks does not have any constitutional right, has no business purposes, has no liberty whatsoever, and it is no right for any business to be the malicious guise of the same P.O.C. That's what Starbucks is committing, and their Starbucks Center, located at 2401 Utah Avenue, South Seattle, Washington, 98134. Starbucks is a facilitating venue, not a legitimate, constitutionally protected establishment engaging in the freedom of making coffees and making money for it. They're engaged in domestic terrorism and psychological torture while happening to be engaged in what is stalking with activity and impossible light under the fake sun as they prepare those drinks for the people of the state. All right, it's 2:42 p.m. P.O.C. That's all pacing, and that's all impossible light. That's pacing in traffic. That's very demonic. This is what Starbucks is engaging in, and the light activity became much more psychopathic, much more animated, if you will, much more demonic, the more that I documented this right here, okay? The fake sun that's remaining in alignment to me on Omnitrans at 6:06 p.m. yesterday. This is where the demons that are engaging in surveillance are sharing and crossing a path, light activity, relevant positioning, driving under the fake sun that's still over the Starbucks at 507 North Euclid Avenue, doesn't create impossible light activity at a distance from your vehicle. That's the P.O.C. The entity's engaging in the P.O.C. with minor children right now is what you're witnessing. And these are psychopaths that are all stalking and monitoring together, not talking to you, not having to address you while the environment remains. That's impossible light activity. This is demonic. This is Starbucks that's engaging in the pattern of conduct. That's the evidence of surveillance. Has nothing to do with the sun. And I will show you what the Ontario police were stalking me under, because it's still here as of what is 3:23 p.m. They were gang stalking after I'm documenting the entities, gang stalking under the fake sun at 11:45 a.m. Driving under the sun doesn't cause light to shoot through those windows the demons are targeting, and I've documented this before at Starbucks. This is the P.O.C. All right, these are demons. 8XMN719, 8XHC461, license 9NJN950, 9BLE352, 8JKH598. This is public corruption. It's domestic terrorism. It's psychological torture. It's sexual violence. The light is not only sweeping on the outside, it's sweeping on the inside, as you saw. That's intentional conduct by the government. That's the Ontario that were stalking me at 1, 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and they're stalking now under the fake sun like they were in alignment. They're in alignment.
under the remaining fake sun. This is P.O.C. Okay, it is currently 3:24 p.m. Starbucks is engaging in psychological torture, like I've already documented, engaging in it with impunity and with minor children. That's P.O.C. All right, this is impossible light activity. I'm holding up one hand, and you can see I have 3 different layers to my hand. That is not light activity that's going to be caused by normal light fixtures. This is a specific environment that's inside of the building. And also when you're documenting what I documented already on more than one occasion, the impossible light that's cascading across the seats and the wall, just like you see there. It's occurring at 4:53 p.m. The Ontario Police are on video gang stalking at Chevron in relevant position in the specific environment at 11:54 a.m. Gang stalking with the people of the state who are maintaining criminal surveillance while they are under the fake sun that's still over the same Starbucks at 507 North Euclid Avenue. We're driving under the sun. While driving on the street does not create light at a distance from your vehicle inside of buildings and also across the exterior of the buildings. That's the demonic pattern of conduct that the entity would like to disregard, would like to ignore, would like to assert means absolutely nothing, but it is impossible light activity, and it's directly relevant to the surveillance that's underway and the ongoing harassment by the government. That is gang stalking. This is again evidence of what is impossible light activity that's in the depths of the apartment. It's not coming from the opposite side of the drive-through window on the wall. That's stalking with light. That's the magnified light while the drive-through window opens and closes. That's impossible light activity as well. Starbucks is engaged in gang stalking, and this is relevant to the evidence that you do not ignore when you are documenting the P.O.C. And by the way, it's currently 4:54 p.m. This is directly relevant to Ontario PD gang stalking at 11:54 a.m. in relevant position after I'm capturing the fake sun over the top of my head at 11:45. And I'm reminding you about the Ontario Police gang stalking at Woodside Senior Apartments at 10:54 a.m., where the entity kept the fake over Woodside Senior Apartments on May 16, 2025, and engaged in gang stalking again on video under that fake sun over the same apartment building at 5:40 p.m. This is, again, their shadows are appearing to the side of them. They're magnified above their heads. That's demonic. It's impossible to occur. As impossible as the light activity that's cascading across the walls in here, and the demon-possessed are monitoring without ever addressing you. It's currently, by the way, 4:55 p.m. And if you'll recall, Ellen D. WAPNER is being documented while the entity is engaging in what is impossible light activity moving across the exterior. This is called patrolling. And this light activity is not causing from the sun, from the side of the vehicle. That's not naturally occurring. This is demonic. This is monitoring. And by the way, they're doing so when they're driving in the shade at a great distance, both in the shade and in the sun. And this is the fake sun over the same exact venue. All right, this is P.O.C. and this is targeting. This is targeting with regard to monitoring, and it's monitoring with the government. And it's through a population, okay? That's impossible light activity reaching into the shade, documenting stalking with light with regard to the P.O.C. That's impossible light activity, very, very demonic. And by the way, this fake sun is not over Woodside Senior Apartments where the Ontario International Airport, like you see gang stalking under the 11:45 a.m. fake sun, under the fake sun that's remaining over this building all day long, and Delta Airlines gang stalking by flying over the Unicare, while the entity is gang stalking amongst impossible light activity. The Ontario International Airport is engaging in gang stalking while this fake sun is at 4:57 p.m. the same time, remaining over Woodside Senior Apartments, while the commercial planes are flying over Woodside Senior Apartments over my head at that apartment complex where the sun did not leave ever that building that I remain inside of. It both rises and sets at Woodside, which is also not going to create what is sunlight beaming across the buildings and into the depths of those buildings. That's a scientific impossibility, which the demon-possessed, the entity that's monitoring, would like to disregard. You do not disregard, just like you don't disregard fingerprints on a knife. You don't disregard what are footsteps with regard to any investigation, and it's directly relevant. The impossibility that your vehicle is shooting light into that building or even across the building. That's the entity that's clearly engaging in that criminal pattern of conduct and has no relevant argument, has no facts, has no explanation, and it is exactly what I've stated. The entity is engaging in targeting while I've been documenting at Starbucks today, and it's relevant to the prosecution. This is very demonic. This is documentation of what is terrorism by the entity that is the people of the state gang stalking in the shoes of the government. This is state action.
This is all state action. And they're doing it under the fake sun that is, number one, not over Alvarado Gardens in Los Angeles like I'm documenting in June of 2024. And it's also not over Woodside Senior Apartments when I'm walking out of unit number 51 and I'm documenting Alan D. WAPNER by name, and the demons engage in what is gang stalking by commercial plane at 4:57 p.m. while they're engaging in surveillance and knowing that I'm naming that demon-possessed fake Jew. Engaging in what is terrorizing me by commercial planes, gang stalking in that specific environment, pursuant to knowledge that I'm documenting him. I'm documenting the Ontario International Airport. That's the pattern of conduct. All right, this is P.O.C. The entity's been maintaining, and the Ontario Police, the Ontario Fire Department, the Ontario International Airport gang stalking, as you saw them at 11:54. Let's count together. 12, 1, 2, 3. It's currently 4:58 p.m. So that was 5 hours ago where they were stalking. And that's how you're understanding what is the non-movement of the sun, relevant to what is identifying stalking, also evident through what is impossible light activity. That's P.O.C. That's the police department that engaged in kidnapping with Tracy Banks. All right, that's the malice of the entity that engages in criminal summoning. All right, that's P.O.C. It is currently 4:59 p.m., 4:58 p.m. Okay, Starbucks at 507 North Euclid Avenue that has the fake sun evident in video documentation today. That also precedes 2025. The fake sun is over at 8:37 in the morning on August 21st, 2021. And I'm documenting it on video at 11:45 and again at 11:54 when the Ontario Police Department, that is the government, directly threatening while you are exposing the fact that the government is keeping you under surveillance in a malicious manner in concert with corrupt companies and violent sex offenders like Starbucks, whose corporate headquarters is located in Seattle. I want to document the entity stalking with light inside of the bathroom, doing so while I'm in the bathroom engaged in private activity, which again, the fake sun is evident, and the stalking with impossible light that you saw in video, you know that they're monitoring my vagina, okay? So while I walk into the bathroom, the lights are on, and what the light is staying on, nobody's in the bathroom, but when I come into the bathroom and I use it, which is requiring movement, the light turns off at the same time that I flush the toilet. That's that demonic synchronicity with regard to light activity and audible activity while they are monitoring, they being Starbucks, a corporate actor whose pockets you can drain, you shall drain for sexual violence, such as enabling a police department to keep your genitalia under surveillance, knowledge about what you're doing in the bathroom stall, knowledge about who you are and what's going on in the bathroom stall, which is private activity, where the entity is engaging in criminal surveillance like Starbucks is proven beyond a reasonable doubt to be doing. The pattern of conduct is speaking to that which is not only beyond a coincidence, it's supernatural. So you could not make it up. And nor are you going to disregard it like the demon possessed would like to do. It's not just nothing that the fake sun necessarily is sitting over a building for 7 hours. It's not just nothing that vehicles are driving under it and light is shooting to the sides of their vehicle, not only on the outside of the building, but reaching into the depths of the building and touching my person. That's not irrelevant. That's not disregarded. And neither is any evidence in any other federal case. The demon possessed are hostile to being exposed. They are hostile to being identified as the demons that they are and the stalkers that they are. And they are obsessed with my vagina, just like I stated. It is not my desire to talk about my vagina. It's my desire to expose those who are obsessively monitoring her. Okay? That's what the entity is doing with this simultaneity of light activity and flushing the toilet. But before entering the bathroom, the light is on and nobody's even in here. And this is the entity engaging in a pattern of that. And it's also relevant because the fake sun is sitting over Starbucks at 507 North Euclid Avenue, where Ocean, the manager, she's a violent sex offender monitoring my vagina, where I don't permit women or males to keep my genitalia under surveillance, to clock what I'm doing in the bathroom, to know what it is that's going on inside of this private space. And neither shall the entity do so as a means of the satanic P.O.C. Engaging in surveillance in fire trucks and commercial airline planes such as Delta Airlines exhibited, and with police vehicles, and gang stalking as a means of traffic, and all of those demons together are corporately aware of the fact that I am in the bathroom engaging in private activity. That sex offense is what is entitling you to substantial recovery. Okay, it is currently 6:29 p.m. This is documentation of bathroom monitoring, P.O.C.
publishing bathroom monitoring with simultaneity helicopter activity under the fake sun that's still over the same building where the Ontario PD were gang stalking at 11:54. This is federal stalking and the pattern to engage in what is ongoing stalking by helicopter as you publish the documentation of their sexual violence, their obsession with my vagina on the venue of the internet. They prove it by stalking under the fake sun with helicopter. These are the same demons you see crossing path on Euclid, which is never going to result in light moving across the building or light shooting off their vehicles into this building in here. The demons are stalking together and threatening together. Psychopaths just stare at their communication devices and they were monitoring my vagina. And they're threatening while the Ontario Police Department used a helicopter to engage in gang stalking. This is P.O.C. This is exactly what they did at Starbucks at 8 p.m. Ontario PD is gang stalking at Chevron again. They're driving in engineer light, not sunlight. Okay? They're walking in engineer light, not sunlight. That's the Ontario Police. They're violent sex offenders exhibiting severe mental illness while they are gang stalking and monitoring my vagina without my consent, my consent. And not only that, they're doing it under the fake sun that's still over the same Starbucks. Let me show you how they're not only demons and stalkers, but they're sex offenders. This is the same fake sun. This is the same address. This is my shadow. This is the immediacy. It's not over Woodside Senior Apartments, first of all. And those demons engage in what is gang stalking in vehicle and in helicopter, hostile to what is the documentation of the sex offenders engaging in surveillance on behalf of the police, who are gang stalking while they're monitoring together. They're the ones that showed you the evidence of their demon possession, that they're gang stalking. And then I put it on the video of the internet so that the world will know, and I will prosecute the city of Ontario. And then the entity is hostile and engaging in what is more domestic terrorism. That's exhibiting mental illness as well. These are the psychopaths monitoring in this bathroom where you saw that light sweeping across, which is never going to result from driving by. They're demons and they're stalkers and they're violent sex offenders monitoring my vagina. And that demon over there in the Ontario police vehicle is listening to every word that I state. And there's no coincidence under an enduring fake sun. It's currently 6:44 p.m. Ontario police doing the same thing that this demon is doing at the same Chevron at 11:54, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That was 7 hours ago. That's the conclusive evidence that they're stalking. And they're not sharing presence in the natural environment with LAPD, who's under a fake sun, while I'm living and working at Alvarado Gardens at the same time of year in Los Angeles. They are exposed. The predators, the violent sex offenders that they are, and so are the people of the state. You will see it published to the Google Drive. As I look at the timestamps when I'm publishing it, when I take the shots and I publish it online, and then look at the time of this video, because it's simultaneous. Helicopter activity with my publishing, the fact that they're monitoring my vagina in the bathroom. This is P.O.C. Starbucks is a sex offender as well. P.O.C. Relevant positioning, light activity, federal stalking. P.O.C. All right, this is the fake moon that is over where the fake sun set all day. As a matter of video documentation from 11:45 until after 5 p.m. And this is the fake moon at night. And this is the entity that is obviously stalking this environment. And that's where the Ontario International Airport is stalking. All right, very heavily stalking with the people. At the moment that I walk out of the room, the Ontario International Airport's already over the Starbucks as I'm subject to amplified audible plane activity and what is engineered light. So pay attention to all these legs right here. It's impossible light activity. Stalking, 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 stalking. The entities engaging in surveillance, everybody in Starbucks, including the employees stalking. That's the P.O.C. and that's terrorism that these state's going to be prosecuted for. And the state's also going to be prosecuted for continuously engaging in domestic terrorism once its secret system of surveillance was exposed, which the body of evidence, which is the P.O.C. extending from 2018, is going to prove as well. The Ontario International Airport gang stalking by hovering over Starbucks at 507 North Euclid Avenue is never arriving, taking off from the Ontario International Airport, clearly stalking me in the specific environment where the fake sun set all day from 11:45 till after 5 p.m. 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's over 6 hours, and that's just my capturing those videos and the moon at night over the same Starbucks. That's understanding gang stalking. This is what the entity is doing at Alvarado Gardens. The fake sun during the day, all day. The fake moon at night over me. At Woodside Senior Apartments, the fake sun over the apartment building all day. The Ontario Police gang stalking, because that's what that is, with the people of the state. An impossible light that sheds off to the side, which is never the product of headlights. These are all demons, and they're all stalking. They're all sex offenders monitoring my vagina as well. All right, that's the reality, and why you have commercial planes flying over me, and a whole airport is used to keep me under surveillance. The state of California is going to compensate for that. I'm going to prosecute for it. All right, it is currently 9:39 p.m. This is P.O.C. while the entity is stalking me from place to place. This is gang stalking. All right, you'll see in the images taken at 9:44 p.m. the image of a sex offender engaging in what is an egregious and demonic molestation with light that is not the product of headlights. You can see the light protruding beyond my person, and my person is exhibited in multiple shadows while a demon is stalking in the path at a traffic light. And it's state action. It is currently 9:44 p.m. It's a white Tesla. That's a sex offender gang stalking. That's the people of the state. But you can see it in the images. That's exactly why the people of the state are going to be prosecuted as the sex offenders that they are. Gang stalking is going to be treated and prosecuted as an exceedingly violent sex offense, and it will go on the record as terrorism, and terrorism committed with regard to what is the egregious sexual violence that the government is engaging in by an entity. That's how gang stalkers are going to be prosecuted, based on the ridiculousness of how the entity is violating the person in every regard. So the people of the state are demonstrating how they're sex offenders. The people of the state are going to be prosecuted as sex offenders. License 5CKV572 is molesting my person and harassing me, and doing so in concert with that sex offender crossing path at 9:45 p.m. P.O.C. Sex offender sounding sirens. Those are the demons, the sex offenders of Ontario Fire Department. Michael Gerken is one demon not needed in this industry. The demons who are violent sex offenders, psychopaths stalking under a fake sun, sounding sirens to monitor. License 9DTJ756. License 8UZS850, engaging in a sex offense by the state. License 7HXH779. Let me be clear. Let me reiterate so that Michael Gerken, a sex offender, can understand what's going to happen. You're going to be prosecuted as the violent sex offender and the terrorist that you are, based on what it is that you've committed. So as I document that, the demons with a fire truck engage in the same exact molestation with a vehicle crossing path with equally impossible light activity while my shadow is surrounding and the fake moon is remaining over me, in the same way that the fake sun remains over me all day long. Those sex offenders, Michael Gerken, engaging in sexual violence, that makes you a sex offender, and you will be prosecuted as such. There is no respect of persons with regard to the ability to seek justice for gang stalking, which is a sex offense. The Ontario Fire Department has an appetite for sexual violence. The Ontario Fire Department, Michael Gerken, will be treated like the sex offenders that they are, sounding sirens to stalk a woman, to molest her with impossible light activity. Because the people of the state are gang stalking. This is P.O.C. It's 9:47 p.m. These demons lined up at the light are engaging in what is stalking in the path with the state that's engaging in what is facilitation. License 8SJZ714. They're all demons with impossible light activity all over the place. Psychopaths posing like they're just in traffic. They're all stalking. This is what's so pathetic about the demon possessed, about the living dead, about these hollowed out zombies that are gang stalking in California, walking in death. 7CMK928. It's pathetic. I'm going to prosecute them as the sex offenders that they are. If you want to be obsessed with my vagina, I'm going to prosecute you for it. License 9LVR315. That's the sex offenders of Allied Universal. License 8MCA765. Sex offenders gang stalking with Michael Gerken, facilitating sexual violence, stalking me in the middle of the night with a whole fire truck. That's the city of Ontario. A bunch of sex offenders. P.O.C. It's currently 9:48 p.m. (32651J2). Demon stalking in the path with flashing light and engineered light. That's called light activity. This is at Metro 102. That entire apartment complex is gang stalking. And I have the documentation to prove that as well. But the P.O.C. is recognized while the demons maintain the specific environment, like driving by you with a fire truck under the fake moon amongst amplified audible activity and being molested with impossible light. It's telling on everybody that's gang stalking with those demons that need to be removed from that position. License plate 8XMG980. Metro 102 at 102 Lemon Apartments.
engaging in the P.O.C. Stalking at the stop sign, 8BXY 907, I believe, it's potentially similar, just stalking at the stop sign, not coincidentally meeting to engage in what is the abiding by the law to stop at the stop. That's somebody that's stalking you by getting at the traffic light, by getting to the stop sign as you get there. Stalking with light is license 8U98571, and Metro 102 Apartments is gang stalking the entire apartment complex. (82291K2). (9 EEJ 107). By the way, it's 9:52 p.m. Eight 021 VCE, that's Nevada. 9NLN 675. 7XQB 211. 8EEL 875. Seven four zero two four G1. EB40E62. That's a paper plate on a dark gray Tesla. Stalking. My shadow is surrounding me. 3 of them on my right side. All right. The trees have shadows that are perpendicular to each other. They're all stalking. 8VHD152. I just wanted to document the people of the state gang stalking with that demon using their vehicle as a method of light activity, stalking in the path, and all the people of the state are doing so, some of whom include those license plates that I just read. It's 9:54 p.m. Okay, demonic synchronicity. As stalkers lie in wait at traffic stops and at intersections, at stop signs, in order to molest your body, you're going to prosecute for the mens rea. That sex offender that wants to touch you with light, that's a predator. That's a predator's mindset. That's what the demons are doing. That's audible activity and light activity. 5S 95045. And that demonic synchronicity is accomplished as I walk across the street. A sex offender is engaging in what is stalking in the path in engineered light at the traffic light. And as I walk through those headlights, which is engineered light, because headlights don't create multiple shadows, it's called light activity, and it's a federal offense. It's criminal conduct by the government that's acting through that demon operating that vehicle, and doing so while the demons are in the background stalking, exhibiting severe mental illness, while amplified train activity is the method for audible noise as I walk through the light, which a sex offender is plotting to touch me with, like a sex offender that wants to violate you with their hands, with their genitalia, with their mouth, without your consent. That's what the demon possessed are engaging in with light. And you're going to prosecute for the same mens rea, a violation of your person. All right, it's currently 9:59 p.m. And the entity amplifying train activity, as I am subject to that, a whole bunch of sex offenders stalking at a traffic stop. That's the demon possessed gang stalking. That is literally the government officials gang stalking. That's P.O.C. It's 9:59 p.m. So let me tell you about these sex offenders. 9GIL 903, heavy set Latino couple, and 6KUJ111, engaging in what is the demon's method of retaliation, hurrying up and surrounding with light while the train sounds incessantly, as I document the fact that they are sex offenders. All right, sex offenders engage in more sexual violence as you document them. These are the license plates for the Latino males, and they're in Andy's Burgers. That's P.O.C. I'm sorry?
We're not ready. Go ahead.
Alright, I'm documenting the images of sex offenders who engage in this reactionary gang stalking tactic. As I document the P.O.C, the demons resort. Oh, this is the mindset of these demons. They're very mentally sick. If you have not paid attention to my YouTube channel, you can look at my YouTube channel at This is the P.O.C, and you will see a playlist where corrupt law enforcement agencies that are group stalking, like the Los Angeles Police Department, like the Ontario Police Department, while they're engaging in what is group stalking using helicopters, they are deeply exhibiting mental illness in doing so. The whole flying around in a circle, this pacing behavior, the fact that they're doing it while you are surrounded with multiple shadows, the fact that they're doing it in a manner that's supposed to be so malicious that no one would ever suspect and no one would ever believe that a helicopter is pursuing you, that's exhibiting severe malicious and psychopathic type of purpose, mindset, very sick, very predatory as well. And the entity is doing this with a hunger to engage in what is psychological torture. So that's what is the rationale behind my documenting the sex offenders that meet you at stop signs, that meet you at the traffic signals. Remember, the state controls the lights as well. And they're all engaged in what is stalking together. They're not going anywhere. They're maintaining presence. Remember that. All they're doing is maintaining presence around you. So you're a whole sex offender stalking at the traffic light, and the demon-possessed engaging in what is an ongoing cooperative act. So the amplification of audible activity is in the environment while you're stalking me at the traffic light. And as I document that, you have a group of sex offenders that rush to the parking spots, as you'll see as I capture images, and you'll see this heavyweight sex offender gang stalking at what is the Andy's Burgers. This is with his wife in tow. I've documented plenty of sex offenders who are couples, who are families, gang stalking me together, and that's exactly what is demonstrated when the entities engage in this P.O.C. After documenting it, and the rationale of the psychopaths, the mentally ill, is to engage in more of that which is documented, to prosecute. That's what the demon-possessed do. They engage in it looking for a reaction. The only reaction that the demons are getting is a prosecution. And again, that psychopathic mindset, that very limited purpose, and failing to appreciate, I'm prosecuting you. That's what's going on here. The demon-possessed engage in more of that which is exhibiting their mental illness. And that's what's relevant in Engineer Light when you're rushing into a parking spot as I'm walking on the sidewalk, because you're a thirsty sex offender that wants to touch me with light, because you are looking for some sort of reaction after I just documented it. And all I'm doing is documenting you now and getting your unattractive features up close in order to publish it on the internet and document you specifically as a sex offender. But that's what the demon-possessed engage in over and over and over again. It's currently 10:07 p.m. and that's what the entity is committing as I go to Andy's Burgers. Andy's Burgers is already documented under the fake sun. Andy's Burgers documented engaging in what is an assault and battery, threatening conduct, doing so with the state. In other words, I've documented Ontario very heavily, especially here at 310 East Holt Boulevard. They are gang stalking as well, while a bunch of sex offenders surround me in the parking lot by driving through the drive-through, by getting into the parking space. As I approach whichever direction I go, the sex offenders surround. Okay, that's literally the mens rea of a sex offender, to prey upon you, to engage in what is violating your person in doing so. And the demon-possessed do that while they're monitoring you with impossible light activity, and they do it on behalf of the gang stalking government. All right, it is 10:08 p.m. I just wanted to expound upon that because you'll see that the sex offenders' images uploaded to the Google Drive, because I think that it is beneficial that everybody know who sex offenders are, that you know what they look like, that you know how to identify them, and that you also witness me expose them and prosecute them. It is currently 10:08 p.m.